thick as a snake, strong as a bull, and blind as a bat. It's Blind Fury time on Bad Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast ever recorded. And today we got Pat Riley in the house with the dirt farmer, Clint Bush, and the Reverend Charles Hewitt is here.
I'm here.
I'm James Housey, your host. Let's go. We're talking about Blind Fury.
I feel like Patrick needs some glasses.
What's that?
Have you worn glasses your whole life?
Me?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you with
Oh, I
glasses.
think
It's
you
been
said
like-
Patrick. That's what.
It's been like
'cause
9
we all have
days.
glasses. Oh,
I've had glasses for 9
Oh,
days.
welcome to the world of glasses.
Yes, it's great. Did you know that there's words all over shit? Sorry, there's words all over stuff.
That's amazing. Do you want to know an interesting story about my glasses?
sure.
Oh, absolutely. When you take them off, it's sexy time.
Well, that's true.
Besides that.
I burned them so badly that they have become messed up.
The ones you have on now?
I have on now.
Oh, because
so when
they're transitions and you.
Well,
torch
no.
them?
When I was burning some stuff at my airplane flying club, and it was really really hot, and I've never done large except for foundation bonfires. And I was like melting my face and my body, and my glasses apparently sort of melted
Changed,
as well.
yeah.
Yes, they call it crazed. And so when I look at lights, I have these beautiful
rays. Yeah.
rays. that
Charles, this
come
is your
off of them.
superhero origin story
Yes.
that we're talking about.
It's a super annoying superhero ability.
That's why after
So-
I got glasses 3-4 years ago for the first
Yeah.
time, and I was like, no, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And switched to contacts as
Yeah.
soon as they let me.
Perfect.
I'm considering that because it's super annoying. Like right now, it's very annoying watching these lights.
Right, because when you're standing in front of the bonfire and your contact lenses melt to your eyeball, that's going to be way less annoying.
Imagine, though, if you couldn't see at all. I almost thought we should do this whole thing blindfolded, all four of us.
Oh, yeah.
Do Blind Fury blindfolded, but then I thought that's just going to cause a ton of chaos.
That could. We'd have
Not
all
only
kinds
that,
of
there's gonna be
tchotchkes flying
People
everywhere.
complaining.
You'd be hitting all the wrong buttons.
Perfect.
Like,
Yeah.
So it'd be like any other episode.
Yeah,
so
that's
welcome
true.
in.
That's true.
If y'all have never listened to the show before, we're Bad Movies Rule. We're going to do a scene-by-scene analysis of this
Yes.
movie. And when I say analysis, I mean it's generally a roast. But when there's things that deserve credit, we'll give a movie its flowers. And at the end, we're going to give out all kinds of awards to this film, Blind Fury from 1989. Just some of them are awards you might not want to win, but some of them are good.
I like them.
And at the end, we're ultimately going to decide, all right, is this actually a bad movie, or is it a bad movie that rules, or maybe it's even a good movie? That's happened a few times.
All of our awards are deserving.
Discovered gems. Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So this is the vitals here. We're going to start off as we always do. We're going to get you all the particulars about the movie so that you know exactly what we're talking about before we launch into our scene-by-scene analysis. And so Blind Fury 1989 was directed by Phillip Noyce.
noise.
And you're not going to this dude has directed tons of stuff.
Good stuff.
Real good
Yeah.
stuff.
Amazing. I was shocked.
Right after he directed Blind Fury, he did Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford. He's also made movies with Angelina Jolie. I mean, he's made Salt with her.
So you think he met the devil on the set of this movie when he made the deal?
Or the studio said, look, we got all these great projects for you, but nobody wants to do Blind Fury. If you do Blind Fury for us, then you can work with Harrison Ford and all of these other people.
If you make this movie only suck, if you can achieve the level of suck, then we will allow you to do these other good
And
movies.
not Dumpster Fire.
Yeah, not Dumpster Fire. If you can be better than Garbage Pail Kids and Masters of the Universe.
A perfectly competent director, though, by all accounts.
Yes.
So there's that. Movie was written by Ryozo Kashihara, was the original. This is actually a remake of a Japanese
Yeah, that was
movie,
fascinating.
right? And
Yeah.
an unspoken remake, and they didn't really make that part of their marketing at all. But the you're gonna love this, Clint. The writer of the American version, Charles Robert Carner. Does that name ring a bell to you?
Not to
No.
me.
Charles Carner, sorry, wrote Jim Cotta.
Nice. All right. Not one pommel horse made it into this movie. That's
There's
weird.
where we get some of, that makes
It's
a little more sense
The
now.
Jim Cotta guy.
Yeah.
Man.
He's on a roll.
I was so happy when I saw
haven't
Jim
that.
seen
Cotta
that
was
movie.
better.
I don't know.
He loved that movie.
I love Jim Cotta.
I haven't seen it
good
yet.
stuff,
I
dude.
refuse to pay for Jim Cotta.
Oh, you've got to. It's
Come over to my house. I'll pay. We'll watch it again. I'll
Perfect.
get dinner. It'll be great.
nice.
Have you ever seen Jim Cotta?
No.
All right.
I've heard what you guys have said about
Yes,
it,
yes,
and I'm
please.
like, it's down the list a little bit.
Okay, that's fine. If it took you this long to get to Jaws, it should
Yeah,
take you
yeah, that's
the rest
fair.
of your life
Yeah, I
to
still
get
got
to
to see
Jim
like
Yes, that's right.
Godfather.
Yeah, okay.
Another one of him.
Put
you
that
don't,
above this on the
actually.
list. It should Godfather, then Gymkata.
Okay.
Movie starred Rutger Hauer, Terry O'Quinn, Noble Willingham, and Randall Tex Cobb as Slag. The budget of this movie was $10 million. Pretty low budget, even for the 80s, I think, for a major Hollywood release.
Yep.
This was a major Hollywood. This wasn't just a B-rate?
No, they put it through theaters. Or they put
Really?
it into theaters. It wasn't just like a straight-to-video.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is a real movie.
It was a real legit movie.
You had to go and pay money and get popcorn.
Yeah, not a lot of people did that, though. It only made $2.5 million in
didn't
the
do
box
well.
office.
I would have loved to have made $2.5 million at the box office.
sad
Yeah,
part-
not if I spent $10 million, though.
The sad part, Clint, is because of that, you didn't get a sequel.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We could have had Blind
They
Fury
had
A
2.
Blind
sequel
Fury
to a
2.
remake?
Then Nick
Yeah.
Nick is now wandering the earth like Kung Fu
He's
style.
there.
There you go.
He turns into a blind A-team,
That's right.
helping those in need.
He runs in.
Well, he is a Vietnam vet, too.
He runs into David Carradine.
Yeah.
The two of them
Yeah.
together wander the earth.
Yeah.
A team up movie. I'd be all for
Yeah.
that, man.
David Carradine.
Here's where it really starts to make no sense whatsoever. It is currently a 6.3 on IMDb.
That's
How
quite
is
a
that
rating.
possible?
It's above our threshold. Usually it's
Yes.
under 6.
I was looking at this going, well, this must not have made much money. And that was proven true because I was like,
Yes.
how'd they get on our show?
It's a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Seems high.
So
Oh, 56. I forgot to
just
say Rotten.
barely rotten by 4%.
I bet the audience likes it.
Audience is 51%.
Less.
Just slightly
Wow.
less. But it's like 6.3,
So how's
56,
that?
51, all
Yeah.
kind of
Right
right
in the
middle.
I think that's fair for this movie.
People either love it or hate it,
Exactly.
it seems like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was expecting numbers in the toilet.
Right. I'm making it sound worse than it is.
Yeah. But I still
like,
didn't expect
legitimately, it's
critically, you look at this, you go,
6.3
okay.
is pretty legit.
I wouldn't expect 56% of critics to be like, yeah, go see this movie.
Yeah, you couldn't expect any critic to say, yeah, this is good. Go
Right.
see it. They were paid.
Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Shut the
2
front
thumbs up.
door.
They did.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
I don't think
And that was
Siskel
back
and
when
Ebert
they were
have ever
actually
rated anything
doing their
well.
show because they were both alive.
I'm a huge fan of Roger Ebert, not Siskel, not so much, but his actual written reviews. He was a
No, he
talented
liked
movie
this
critic, and I value his input. And the fact that he gave this,
You just changed your mind.
oh man, maybe this movie's awesome. Hold on, I got to
Awesome.
rethink everything I
Gotta
thought
rethink
about
everything.
Blind Fury.
Yes. Well, I think our discussion today will help you clarify that.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And hopefully you guys don't come in with these preconceived notions that clearly I have. And maybe, you know,
I'd never heard of this movie before. You said, hey, I need you to come on this podcast.
first timer.
Yep.
First time.
Everybody across the board, first timer?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, 4 first timers. Maybe you're tuning in and you're like, oh man, Blind Fury. I grew up on Blind Fury. I can't wait till these guys talk about
Your
Blind
life
Fury.
sucked.
And I'm really sorry if we're starting this off, you thinking, oh, we're going to trash it. I think there's some to this movie to like, so don't worry.
Absolutely.
About that. You know, we just appreciate that you're here, and I just want to let you know before we dive into the scenes how you can connect with the show if you'd like to connect with the show. So there's all kinds of ways to get a hold of us. There's all kinds of ways to get a hold of us, and you can do that via any of our socials, which are all linked in the show notes in the description. Also, you can join our email list. We send out a monthly newsletter every month that goes through what all our upcoming episodes are. You can get ahead of what's coming up down the line instead of just staying week to week. You get a copy of our entire list. It's almost 1,000 movies long. All the movies we pull from randomly to make episodes. You can see everything that's on there. To go, hey, I wonder if this movie's on the list, if it'll ever make it on BMR. You can go and join our mailing list, and you'll get that sent to you. Also, you can email us if you want to interact. We have our mailbag segments. You can email the show at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com, and we will gladly read your emails in those segments, answer any questions you have. You feel free to send us clarifications, mistakes, screw-ups. We do a lot of those as well as hate mail for Bob if you'd like to do that. We always are accepting of that as well.
If I could interject the
Please.
thought,
Yeah.
as a new Patreon.
Yes.
Yes, I just joined.
That's right. After it only took
Decided to
120
support the
episodes.
show financially. I was thinking about one of the things I don't like. I listen to a lot of podcasts. One of the things I don't like about podcasts is they often end. But
Yes.
we have 1,000+ episodes at least to go into. So if you like this podcast, you have a chance that you will watch a bunch of old guys get much older.
Wait, I thought you said you were moving next week, and this was the last one.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Never mind. We're gonna keep going.
This could go on so long that our children who've been on this show might be able
true.
to take it over. It'd
be great.
So you've got a podcast that could go on almost indefinitely.
50 weeks that we release in a year.
Yeah.
Divided by 1,000.
And
quick
only
goat
20
math.
years.
That's 20.
And considering, really,
That's
I
like
think
more
our
than 10.
Oldest show we did was 75.
Yeah.
There's like treasure trove of movies before that
That's
that
true.
we haven't even added.
I think we've
And-
only done 3 movies in the 70s.
Yes, and new bad movies come out
There you
all the
go.
time.
all the time.
So if you'd like to join our Patreon like Charles just did, and you can get access, we have a whole other show on there, Good Movies Rule.
Yes.
We just released Jaws in September.
Yeah. Patrick was on that one.
Patrick was on that one. We got Spaceballs.
phenomenal.
Spaceballs coming up in October. That's our release for that for Good Movies Rule. You want to hear us talk about Predator? That's on there already. Ferris Bueller. That's where you can do that on our Patreon. It's at patreon.com/badmoviesrule. It's all in the show notes. Go and check us out. And we appreciate the support. You're helping us keep the lights on here and put out more and more content. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
All right. You want to jump into this movie? The Blind
it.
Fury?
I can't see a thing.
Cautiously jump into it
Yes.
after poking the ground with the stick,
Or wandering through knee-high water in Vietnam.
carrying a knife.
That's where the movie starts.
Backwards.
Yeah, backwards. Well, he liked carrying his knives
Underhanded.
backwards.
Yeah, so we start off, the movie starts, it's clearly a blown up battlefield with bodies and helicopter parts, and there was an
was a mess.
explosion of some kind. We're looking at the aftermath here,
Yeah.
and we see Rutger Hauer wandering through knee-high in a rice paddy or something going, what is he saying?
Just so that
I can't see anything.
I can't.
That's his first line.
The guy's so the director is so like unsure of this guy's acting ability. Is like, no, say that you can't see anything, just in case they can't tell that
I
you're supposed to be
appreciate- I
blind.
appreciate movies being clear, and it was
okay.
clear.
It
I
was-
can't see anything. I can't see anything,
I am a blind soldier.
and I'm proving because I'm holding my knife pointed towards me, and then I'm thinking that's really dangerous.
When he falls,
You could
At
poke
least
out
point
an
it
eye.
away from you. Yeah, poke out an eye.
that wouldn't matter.
It'd probably still hurt.
No, his eyes healed up pretty well for not being able to see anything.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was psychosomatic can't see.
Might be. He's ultimately saved by. I mean, his eyes look fine. He's got some bloody mess on the side of his face.
Yes.
But his eyeballs are completely intact. We don't
Flash
know-
Hair, on the
whatever,
other
you
hand,
know.
is a disaster.
No, his hair is
Something's
terrible.
going on
Fix
with
your
that
hair. It's
Yeah,
embarrassing.
seriously.
Well, you do see later there's a big flash right in front of him, so he gets blinded by
is that-
flash blind.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
that's supposedly
necessarily
mortar
trauma.
fire, but it's really just a giant sparkler.
It was huge magnesium sparkler ball.
Okay, but anyway, he's rescued by village people, not the village
Not the
people.
village.
Oh, that would have been
That
so
would
much
have been
better.
a very
Oh
different
my
film,
God.
yeah. Young man, we can help you to see. Young man.
I mean, imagine somebody doing the YMCA with blades in their hands
Yeah.
while they're
There
doing
you
the.
go.
I mean, that would be
Yeah.
a great
Young man.
ending scene.
Yeah.
The whole basis of his martial
Yeah.
art. That's
Martial art is
perfect.
YMCA.
He's always either doing the Y. He only has 4 moves.
That's all you need.
That's really it, man.
With a name like Rutger, all you need is 4 moves.
Great name, right?
It is a good name.
Rutger. Oh,
He's a handsome man.
if he didn't make it as an actor, he could have been president of the Cool Names Club.
Yeah.
He's not a bad-looking guy.
The villagers put some sort of palm branch on him or something. Leaves
Aloe
over-
leaves or
aloe
something,
leaves,
yeah.
over him.
Yeah, so I got lots of questions. Why did
Why?
they
No reason.
rescue him? Why
Yeah,
did they?
that's an issue. Well, it shows. I like that.
Okay, that's fine. Right, because not everybody that was there
Yeah, the
was a
Vietnamese
combatant.
people that all they were getting killed, they were like, "Oh, this is a good American. We'll help him out."
Well, let's
Put
hope that was the
aloe on
case.
his eyes, or they were going to sacrifice him to a god.
Or that's where they just
Either way, it was one of those two. No other options.
It's like, oh, you know what? Let's train this one to fight. We can kill the next one.
Yeah.
Right? We've
Oh, look at
It's
poor guy's
50-50.
blind.
They just flip a coin. They've got
feel
a fight
bad.
or kill coin.
seriously.
Or maybe they only kill people that can see them.
They're like, it'll be hilarious. We'll throw fruit at him and
Yeah.
we'll see what he does.
See if he can
and then he
whip that
legit
bad boy 4 directions.
It starts off they're tossing fruit and he doesn't know what's happening.
No,
He
of
can't
course,
see
he's
anything.
blind.
And then eventually, by the time this
Straight into montage.
3-minute montage is over, he's slicing and dicing
Yes.
stuff like he's a chef on television. They're throwing these. I don't even know what that was. Vietnamese cantaloupes into the
Tasty.
air.
I'd taste that.
right?
That'd be interesting to see what that tastes like.
Slices it up into 4 pieces, and everybody who was laughing at him before,
Not cheering.
like, haha, this blind idiot can't cut fruit. What's
Now,
flying through
look
the air?
at him. But they weren't laughing. They were very supportive.
They laughed the first time they threw it.
Oh, maybe I missed
and I'm like, okay.
I have to say, I enjoyed seeing. I'm going to call them indigenous peoples because I'm not quite sure whether they're Vietnamese or not.
I just assumed he was there in Vietnam, but yeah.
But I enjoyed seeing that many. Like they clearly were not actors.
No,
those folks he was around.
No, they were the most believable. They gave the most believable performance in the entire movie.
Great. That was cool. I like that part.
It was awesome.
I think they also
movie.
they introduced the fact that there was going to be a little tongue in cheek to all of this right away. There was that one coconut or something that they threw at him, and it just made like a boink noise, hit his head, and I was like, all right, so it's tongue in cheek. This is a little bit of satire. This is going to be this is more of a comedy than I think people are going to expect it. And I think that anytime you're watching a movie, I think the perceived genre
makes a huge difference
in how you then can enjoy or not enjoy.
Expectation is everything.
Yeah, they set that up.
Everything. Yeah. But I'm glad you brought it up, so I'll just talk about it now. The biggest struggle for me with this movie is I said, who is this for?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost seemed like it's made for children in parts, right? But then we're chopping hands off and cutting dudes up, and it's all kind of gross. And there's like violence, but it's not actiony enough to be an action movie.
And it's not gory violence.
And it's not even right. It's
bloody.
just I'm just like, they're clearly doing. It seems like a mishmash of different things.
It has R rating.
Who is it for?
Yes.
Well, I think that's what happens too, because I think I saw somewhere that not just is it a remake, but like the story of this guy that is in the Japanese version of the films.
Yeah.
The story goes back to like the 17th century. So what you're doing is you're modernizing, remaking, and Americanizing this story.
Yes.
And I think you lose a bunch of translation when you do that. It's kind of like when and I think if you have no like context for the originals, which I don't think any of us do, then I think you probably just lose, because this was like one of 9 films they did about this character.
I guess it was hugely popular.
Yeah, and so like there was probably a lot of it that was lost on the American audience because it was essentially lost in translation. It would be kind of like if you had no like concept of William Shakespeare and watched the Claire Danes, Leonardo DiCaprio, Romeo and Juliet, and was just like, what is this? Like without any context to it whatsoever.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It seems weird.
You actually did research on this before you came on the show?
We forgot to tell him.
Who got the new guy?
Well, we just forgot to tell him.
Who left the door open?
I appreciate that.
Look, here's the problem. I have ADHD, so when I'm watching the movie, I am bouncing into IMDb like, wait a second, what is this all about? I can't just focus on the movie. You know how many times I have to rewind these movies to go like, I missed the last 30 minutes because I'm reading.
Yeah, I have that problem too. Not ADD though. My problem is I'm watching the movie and looking at IMDb and then totally miss out on what's going on in the movie. And I'm like, wait, what just happened? But I have to say this, since we're talking about who this movie was made for, they ended up with a really stupid tagline that said, he may be blind, but he don't need no dog, which means nothing.
Yeah.
I guess he needs a dog. Oh, I just got that part.
Yeah.
But here's the line I like they should have gone with.
Yeah.
Pray you see him before he hears you.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Much bad. That's much more bad.
That's much better. It is much
Makes him sound like a villain, though. It wasn't supposed to be a villain.
Yeah, but that's what he used was hearing. He heard it all.
Well, we cut forward here, and this is a good thing to talk about with your tone thing that you brought up, Patrick, is we cut to Miami, Florida. And Nick is walking down the street by the Everglades.
Yeah.
Right?
20 years later.
20. Oh, yeah. 20. Not because anything's happened. It's just taken him 20 years to walk from Vietnam.
And find himself
swim, dude.
And find himself some really cool late 80s clothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
and
just
those
like
glasses, which I wish he wore the glasses for most of the movie. That would have been awesome.
I know I'm joking, but they almost set it up to be like it's just taken that long because he hasn't reached out to anybody. Nothing's happened.
What was that weird beep?
Yeah, that was that. Sorry. Oh. Nothing's happened. And he's never reached out to anyone or reached out to Frank. And so it almost seems like he's just now come over here.
Yeah.
Well, how long was he in this village? He starts out with, clean shaven soldier boy, and he comes out of there full on beard, and he definitely looks aged as well. So not only that, they grade him up and everything. So he might have been in that village for several years to learn how to slice fruit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, hey, your blender training is
I think
not
they based
over.
the game of Fruit Ninja off of this.
I got that several times in this movie, Fruit Ninja. And I don't even play Fruit Ninja, but I know of it.
Best joke in the movie lands right here as he's walking down the side of the road. Yeah. Yeah, there's this gator on the side of the road, and he comes up and taps him with his stick, and then it's like,
nice.
Smells the air. Oh, yeah. Good doggy.
Good doggy.
Right, but,
and walks right over the
is
gator.
he supposed to be a savant, or is he not able to tell a
he
dog
stepped
from an
over the
alligator?
poop.
Right.
Stepped over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he Magoo or is he freaking awesome at everything?
Right. Who knows? He's in Miami. We got some bad guys that sit around this diner. Okay, like, man, I hope a protagonist walks in here soon so we can start causing some trouble. I mean, it's like the biggest trope of all time. Like in the first, we've done this in gas stations, diners, bars. Whenever we can first show that the good guy can fight, we have to have random bad guys do stupid things.
My wife was watching this with my daughter too. Yeah. We had some great lines together. But she said, my wife says, even bad guys know not to pick on blind people. Like, what kind of bad guys are these that they're picking on a blind guy?
Which some blind guy would walk in here so we can mess with him.
If you're gonna pick on a blind guy, you trip him or something like that. You don't put hot sauce on his freaking stuff.
And like, let me improve your burrito.
Yeah.
Hey man, you can't eat your burrito without the sauce.
Like, that's not going to be too hot with him. He's been eating Vietnamese food. Sure enough, that's where the joke went. I was like, oh, she's pretty smart, my wife.
And then he's like, wish there was a woman in here we can assault just so that the good guy can step in and do it. It's all just such a trope.
It is.
Diners are not where these types of people hang out either. Like, let's go. Well, I get
You never been to Denny's at 2 a.m.?
That's different.
It wasn't 2 a.m. though. That's the problem.
I used to live at Denny's at 2 a.m. Yes, believe me, I understand that there is another world that exists at Denny's after dark.
And you've seen people push around blind people at Denny's at 2 a.m.
Sure, yeah,
right.
But it's like this is broad daylight, and we're just hanging out at Grandma Sally's pancake house.
That's good to know, because I've been afraid of diners most of my life because of movies.
Oh, yeah, but you don't have to be because this isn't real.
Yeah. Oh, good.
It's just not accurate at all. You're right. Good. And they start tossing this lady's purse around until it ends up in Nick's feet. And then Nick is just like, let me pick up this purse, and he Condor Mans it. Like, he looks like he's falling into all of these guys, like Inspector Gadget style. Yeah. Accidentally beats all of them up.
That's another like Magoo, like, hey, I'm blind and everything, but I keep happening to accidentally do the perfect thing.
Right, which is what with the movie, even at the beginning, I'm trying to figure out if he's great at this or it's a comedy and he stumbles into everything.
And I think that's where, between the thing where there's the Coke can, the dog crap, the alligator,
right,
and then this scene, it's almost like they're setting it up to be slapstick comedy for the whole thing. And then that tone kind of goes away at times, and it's just like you're going to lose your audience fast if you have one tone and then just shift it for whatever reason.
Right.
And there's a difference between like tone changes and just straight up like jumping genres through the whole movie.
I think what we're seeing here is we know that this director did some awesome stuff after this, and this is obviously the first thing he's ever been asked to direct. So like you're seeing a huge growth of directing quality as the movie goes on. So he's going to change direction.
Well, and you wonder if he's just pushing back against the studio and going, no, like this, it needs to be this. I need to show myself capable of something better than this crap.
This movie would be absolutely ridiculous if they played it straight.
Yes. So, but then go all in on the goofiness. I feel like they kept going back and forth.
I didn't mind that as much, but you're right. I think your first question of who is this made for is a good question because it's rated R.
Right.
There's language, there's violence. It's not overly gory violence, but obviously people's hands getting cut off and stuff's going on.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over in Reno, we see Frankie D is being held off the roof.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the Pike brothers.
Nick Cassavetes.
I know.
Back from the Wraith.
Lyle and he was in
Tector.
What was he in the Wraith?
He was the main bad guy in the Wraith. Wow. Was Lyle in this movie.
I like Lyle.
I
like Tector.
The henchmen in this movie were great. We had Lyle and Tector, the brothers.
There were a lot of henchmen.
There were.
Every type of henchman.
Slag, played by Randall Tex Cobb.
Guy.
Okay.
My favorite.
Every time
what happened
that
to that guy?
Here. Dude, he was in Ernest Goes to Jail. He was in Ace Ventura in the beginning. He was the guy that he swaps out the dog for the stuffed dog.
Uncommon Valor.
Uncommon Valor.
Yeah, that my mom took me to when I was way too young.
I love that guy. And so there was also Cobb, which is funny, was the character's name of the big giant fat guy that was like the older dude that was with them.
Yep.
And then McCready is the mob boss. And McCready is that Southern guy who did a ton of these kinds of roles.
Don't forget about all the cornfield killers.
That comes later.
Right, but that was in our list of bad guys.
He had I was going to say diverse, except I don't think there were any people of color in that hench mob. But nonetheless, diverse culturally.
McCready,
lots of people.
Is played by Noble Willingham, and this guy was the owner of the Dolphins in Ace Ventura, another Ace Ventura guy, right?
Yeah, okay.
And he also was the bad guy in Last Boy Scout. with Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. I don't know if any of you ever saw that. But I loved that guy. So as soon as he showed up, and basically it's just to introduce the bad guys. It's that another tropey scene like, you owe us a lot of money down in that casino, and now you're going to pay up by making you make the things that we need, whatever the frick that means.
Crystal meth.
Well, we don't even know that yet, right? Well, he's just like, you're going to make us the stuff because we need the money.
This guy predates Breaking Bad hard with the blue crystal meth, dude. I swear to God.
That's a great line, too, when he says, it's not even illegal in this. It's as legal as hookers and attorneys in this state.
That's right.
Like, we're not making street drugs. It's almost like a don't do drugs.
Making blue meth for this guy.
Yeah.
Which
designer drugs.
Like
designer drugs. That's what he said.
Designer drugs.
Which was that a real, like, when you go to your dealer, hey, can I get some of them designer drugs?
Hey, man, you got anything Gucci?
I never did any drugs like that other than prescriptions.
There's certain ones that are, they're referred to as designer drugs. And it's oftentimes how they do get around, because it's what it essentially boils down to is that they don't have a law yet criminalizing that particular substance. So it's one of those where it's just like, it's not really legal in the stance that, like, they've said, that you can, this is legalized. It's just they haven't caught up with it yet.
Like at that time in the 80s, they were still crushing up Sudafed.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, now back in Florida, Nick makes his way to Frank's house. And what's Frank's last name? I know Devereaux. Thank you. He gets to what he thinks is Frank Devereaux's house, which we find out is Nick's old Frank, just the guy who was being dangled in Reno.
He's divorced now.
Is not divorced. This is just his wife and his son. And we find out that they're old war buddies. That's why Nick is coming to see him.
But Frank is hanging over the edge of the building, they warn him, we're coming after your wife and kids.
That's right.
If you don't do drugs you don't make drugs for us. Because the casino guy's in trouble financially.
He says which we don't even find out till halfway through the movie.
Right.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's fine. But even at that point, we're like, what? Why? What? He gets to this house where his ex-wife and his a-hole little kid live.
Oh, what a tool. This guy was such a Hauser, I swear to God.
Oh, shut up.
That's not a thing? It's going to be a thing. I'm making that a thing. When somebody's a tool, he's a Hauser.
Look.
After Bob, not you. You're cool.
Appreciate that. The mother is played by Meg Foster. Let's just start with her.
Oh, no, let's not.
Okay. we just talked about her in the They Live episode on Good Movies Rule, and she was here on BMR. She was Evil Lynn in Masters of the Universe. But part of what we gave her a hard time on in They Live is that she talked like she was in a trance the entire time. Okay, it is time for us to go. Let us go over here. Like, that was how she spoke. And I thought, okay, that's got to be a one-off, because in Masters, she spoke with like regular emotion and normal. And again, we're here, and she's like, Billy, please just let us talk for a moment. I'm like, can someone tell me what's wrong with Meg Foster?
Someone got to her.
What happened to her?
I don't know.
Because I know she's got I always hear people talk, oh, Meg Foster is great. It's the eyes, whatever. But then now 2 out of the 3 movies I've seen her in, it's like,
well,
I mean, if that was your son...
Oh my gosh!
You think she's on Valium?
I think she's just like this Billy, and Frank just walked out on me to leave me with this nightmare, and she's probably just sitting there.
She's on the blue crystal, baby,
dating herself every chance she can.
Xanax and Valium cocktail.
That, or it's not that, or she's just that worn down.
Yeah, it could be
in life where it's just like she's just.
I think
this is my life, really.
To know, maybe in this, I don't know when she made Masters of the Universe.
Just a couple years before this.
So maybe she was in a drug phase.
It could have been.
And she's having trouble acting.
In this case, she might have just been playing it that way. She does at one point try to send Billy's like sniffling and snotting all over. She goes, some fresh air will do good for your allergies.
That's opposite
of what
she's a nurse, too.
I think she's trying to kill him.
She's got to do her taxes or paperwork.
Go play in this pile of pollen outside.
I get it. I get why. I mean,
no, seriously.
He meets a blind man, and his reaction to that is when he gets a chance to just give him the finger.
As close to his face as possible.
Yeah.
Which Nick catches and says, get out of here.
So, I mean, like, that kid's a nightmare.
Nick is there to try and see Frank.
His dad's gone.
He's not much better than the guy from the diner throwing the purse around.
Who is? The kid? Oh.
The kid is no better than the guy dumping the hot sauce in the freaking burrito on the
maybe that's his actual dad.
But we missed the important part.
She's saying, Mom,
all right, tell me the important part.
We weren't
Hauer,
there. Maybe that's why Frank left.
As Nick's walking up to the house, a dinosaur comes flying down.
Oh, this dinosaur became a through line for the whole movie.
It's the heart of the movie.
Billy is making a clay triceratops I don't remember why he chucks it. He doesn't like
I think
it.
He knocks it off.
Something.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to carve his name in and it falls off.
And it falls off out the window, which Nick catches in the front yard.
Without deforming it at all, because it's now cooked like it was in a kiln on the fall down.
I've been to Miami. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, but it's humid. It's humid, too.
That's true.
It cooked on the way down.
That just enough velocity of air blowing through it in the heat of Miami hardened it.
Perfect. Yeah, so he has that Triceratops now. That's important. Now, here's where we get going. The cops roll in. And when I say they roll in, they
really come in.
Like, it's almost like SWAT team. They kick the door in, like, almost.
Have you seen this boy?
We want your son, Billy. Where is he? Why? What's going on? Oh, he was the witness of a crime, and we just need to question him.
What kind of crime? We can't tell you that. It's like, no. I'm the parent.
Definitely a crime that happened.
And Nick is like, can you tell us more about what's going on? And the wife's like, oh, sure, here's there, and there's that.
Right, and then out of nowhere, here comes Slag.
Oh, I knew we were in trouble. Slag came.
Right, Tex Cobb comes in and just smokes Meg Foster with a shotgun.
Thank you.
Damn.
I mean, to be fair to Meg Foster, in general, they didn't give her much to work with from a script standpoint. And I think there was part of her. I mean, if this was my role and I thought I was bigger, I would be like, I would just be mailing it in too. Like, I'm on screen for 3 minutes and then just get blown away.
Yeah.
You know,
but everybody should be Steve James in it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
They should be trying. Give it your all, right? I hear you. But
yeah. Anyways,
she gets smoked by the shotgun, and now
I was surprised.
Slag is standing right between the two cops. Like, there are three of them in a line.
Yeah.
And this is my problem with any of the action sequences that involve Nick going into karate mode with he has a sword inside of his blind stick that he uses. And he always comes in. Now, they've got guns pointed at him.
Yeah.
Shoot him.
Done.
Like, out the whole time. He always comes in with these big, sweeping, swooping motions.
Yeah, you ain't got time for that.
Long developing, right? And every time he does this, everyone just stands there and allows him to, right?
Yeah.
And anytime you could have just fired that gun and taken care of it. Instead, the cop just stands there with his gun out and gets his whole hand cut off.
That was awesome.
Gun in the hand, fires on the ground.
Hand. He falls into Slag.
Then he cuts Slag's wrist.
Cut Slag's wrist.
Okay.
He's okay, though.
I think it was the top of his wrist.
I hope it was. It seemed like he came underneath, but whatever.
There's several times where Slag appears to get hurt or killed, and you don't actually know what happened.
He's a resilient guy in this movie. Yes. Then he kills the black cop, who I don't think has ever acted in a movie before in his life, or maybe had only ever been described to him how acting works.
Yeah,
that's the sense that I got from watching this performance.
Yeah.
It's like someone who has just been told how acting works and has never actually witnessed it.
I feel like that's a lot of this movie,
because
though.
When he I know, but this guy specifically, when he slices up this cop, he literally goes, "Goo!"
I might make that noise if someone slices me.
We have a sword.
Yeah, we do.
But is that also part of the slapstick that they just dipped into for a moment?
He might have been told to do that. So I don't want to hammer him too big, because he might have been told to do it. But why just tell him and nobody else? Because no one else gave that kind of take.
I don't know. The cop's hand fell off kind of.
He overdid it a little bit too. And then this guy that got cut up that you think just went, "Goo!" and he's dead, comes back up behind Nick with a shard of glass that he holds over him for 10 full seconds.
Oh, he's wounded mortally.
Without just bringing it down, giving Nick enough time to go, "Oh, there's somebody behind me," and stabbing him in the stomach.
Nick's very slicey.
Everybody goes into slow motion.
It's like it's like a battle scene underwater.
Got to be fair.
It's like a battle scene.
Like, everything is just moving. Like, it's like literally like, I don't know, maybe the Miami air was too thick. Like, they just couldn't move their arms. Well, the whole time I was like, this would be better underwater, because then it would make sense.
Yeah. And throughout the movie, it's obvious they're playing with the speed of the film too during the fight sequences. So they're speeding moments up and things like that. And that stuff kind of sticks out like a sore thumb to a certain extent as well. But he's able to chase everybody off.
Oh, and Billy got thrown to the floor and knocked out.
That's right. He is knocked unconscious. He does not know that Mom is dead.
And he's wearing some awesome acid wash jeans.
Oh, yes. Those were, thank you for reminding me. Those were awesome.
Costuming's amazing.
Well, remember, this kid would later wind up on Step by Step.
Yeah,
this kid had
quite a career.
Is this the Step by Step kid?
Yeah, I think what was the name? TJ, the oldest boy.
TJ,
who was really
JT or something.
Or JT, yeah. I think he's got a typecast. I mean, like, because he was kind of a jerk in that, too.
Yeah?
Interesting story about him, apparently. He was shot in both arms at a traffic incident
Oh, for
Seems
real?
legit.
in L.A.
The actor.
Yeah, and then
Because he put his finger in someone's face.
And he was potentially going to be cast as Kevin Arnold in the Wonder Years.
Oh, thank
That-
God.
oh my- that would have been-
How different would that show have been?
We would have
with this
never
guy?
met
It would have been 6 episodes in pull. And they only did the 6 because they were contractually obligated to play half of them.
My daughter, who's 14, thought he looked kind of cute.
Really? Millie liked him.
Yeah, I don't know if she liked him that way. I think she said it more like, "Oh, he's a cute little kid."
All right.
It's hard when you see little kids
was
that you know what
13.
they grow up to. Like when you know what they are in another movie
Yeah,
when they're
apparently
older
it's
or
like-
TV show.
When he gets shot in both arms at a traffic incident.
Apparently, because he's probably doing the finger in the guy's face
just
thing.
right in someone's face.
Just like he did in this movie.
Don't mess around with people in L.A. They'll shoot you in both arms.
So he promises.
I wish I could know that story because, like,
I know, I wanna
one
know the
arm,
answer.
okay, maybe one arm. I mean, both arms.
He
Like,
probably won't tell the story because
somebody like intentionally shoot him in both
flipping
arms.
somebody off.
Maybe
but-
somebody just missed twice and then was like, I got to get out of here. Like, I'm clearly not hitting this guy in the
Just
chest.
straight across. Oh,
Perfect.
1996, he got shot in both arms.
All right, so he promises to Meg Foster as she please take
Wait,
Billy.
September 3rd, 1996.
Okay, what does that mean?
Today is September 3rd.
Is it today?
Yes.
Look at that. Wow. We're on
That's called a
the
synchronicity. I've been reading a lot of books about UFOs, and that's weird.
27th anniversary of him getting shot.
and both arms.
I hope you're doing well, Billy.
Whatever her name is.
Brandon
Call.
Cool. All right, let's get on with this.
I hope both those arms work.
So he promises to a dying Meg Foster. Nick does it. He will take the kid to his father.
This was almost erotically delivered, though. Like, they were so close to each other,
Well,
and it was just...
The blind man got close to a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He did. And
He feels up some people.
it cuts to
I thought he was-
him carrying
they
the
was gonna feel
the
her
kid.
up.
It cuts to him
Been a long
carrying
time,
the kid
maybe.
down
She's
the
got an extra hole
sidewalk.
now.
Wow.
She's carrying the kid down the sidewalk, nailing every
that's awful.
bush down with the kid's head as it's going by.
James is just trying to move on.
I am. We've been 10 minutes on this scene alone. On this scene alone. All right.
That's the power of Meg Foster,
Carrying
apparently.
the kid.
They carry
whacking
the kid,
stick.
gets on the bus,
That's a long bus ride.
and never tells the kid about his. Oh, she's sleeping or whatever it is.
He doesn't lie to her
Stupid excuse.
technically. Where's
He
my
just
mom?
says
She's back home.
she's back home.
It's true.
But why would this kid not just scream at a bus station, I don't know this man?
Well,
He won't tell me
kind of-
what's going on with my
Well,
Yeah,
he
the
told-
cop
no,
came up
He
and then...
told him, he said, your mom asked me to take you to your dad. So he knew.
I'm still asking some questions.
Skeptical.
Yeah, well, he
My
did,
dad-
he
my
did
dad that
just
left
get
me?
beat up by a giant guy named Slag.
You mean my dad that left me?
That's right. Take me to my dad who doesn't care and ditched us both.
Well, we know children of divorce, complicated situation.
That's true. That's true. All right, checking back in with Frank, we get this really kind of meaningless scene where just to introduce the fact that Annie and Frank know each other. Annie seems to be Frank's girlfriend.
Yeah, she brings over some stuff.
Brings over some stuff from his apartment that they let her into his apartment. Is she or is she not in cahoots with the casino
I
guys?
think
don't know
she's
just
sort of
yet.
compelled to work on their behalf, but loves Frank.
But loves Frank?
and is like, hey, Frank, you should just do this because they're bad dudes,
Yes.
and you know what you're doing. You're gonna make money.
I think that's probably the case.
Yes.
Back on the bus, the kid gets some instant karma by eating pavement out in the freaking rain. Let's talk about this for a
That's fun to
second.
see.
I hated this scene so much.
Nick is struggling through the rain
Just a little rain.
because of
He's blind.
being blind.
And he falls
and he
down.
trips and falls
Slips.
down. And this kid
Laughs at it.
just gut lab
Yeah.
like at this blind man falling down. And then immediately
I can see just fine. I can,
Yeah.
you know, what
And
it,
he-
like,
But wasn't this right after saying he gets the window seat because you're blind? You can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to
Yeah.
you anyway.
That was
that was
funny.
Still gotta
though.
breathe.
That was funny. And he's like, good
Yes.
point. Although his lips didn't actually move.
Yeah.
he eats the kid immediately after laughing, eats pavement, just soaked in mud.
mud and
And
water.
he cries like
Oh,
a baby.
Hermione.
Oh, it was my favorite part of the
I want his
movie.
clothes though because they're miraculously clean.
The next, yes.
Yeah.
They were fine.
They just
then he
self-cleaning.
decides to freaking feed the old guy a rock. He's like, here,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
gave me a spare piece
here.
of candy inside here.
That's right.
Why
Gives
the
him a
kid's the
rock.
worst?
Oh man, I love
So
he
he
spits it in
freaking
his
spits it right in
eyeball.
his face,
That was
and he's got a freaking big old dent on his forehead from it. Oh, good stuff.
I love their
fired it,
interaction. It's
man.
awesome. They both don't like each other, but
Fired
Rutger's
it
got
right
to.
back
I mean,
at him.
Nick's got to do his job.
He's got a job to do.
Once they get back on the bus, this is where we get the backstory. He says, so you knew my dad in the war, and he pulls out this picture of the two of them.
It's very emotional.
And this
Steals
picture
his wallet.
Yeah. So you're a thief, too.
Thank you.
He steals his wallet.
Pulls the picture out. And this is supposed to be a picture from before Nick was blind, but he still looks blind as hell in this picture. It's just him, like, to the side, staring off, like he's blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They took the picture at the end of the film, and he'd already been blinded. It's like, oh, we forgot to get that picture. It's like, all right, we'll fix it in post.
Seriously. And the lame story is that they're all partying in their whatever they were. They had,
they're going home.
They're going home. They find out the war's over. Their mortar fire starts to come in from these enemies, and there's at least 30 guys in this little area where they all are.
Yes.
And then he goes, me and your dad got picked to go take them out. I'm like, how about me and your dad and all 28 of the other guys that are in there get picked to take them out?
Maybe they drew straws. They don't want to go out. The war's over.
What? When they say we got picked, it ends. He was like, when I say we, I meant me, because your dad didn't even really help me. Like, tell the
he
full
bailed
story.
out immediately.
He bailed immediately on him.
Yeah.
It ends up being a solo mission to take out these
You
mortars.
were there, man.
That's right.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Frank bails.
Frank was traumatized, PTSD-ified.
And this is when Rutger Hauer takes a giant sparkler to the face.
Right.
And
Can't see
is blind
anything.
forever, right?
But I got my knife.
Like, they didn't have enough money for a mortar impact. They had to just light a giant
How
sparkler
far was
on
he
the
from
ground.
the Vietnamese people?
I don't know. They were right there.
Like a bus
throwing the
lane.
mortars.
They were literally behind a. They're behind
there
a
was weird
motorhome.
things
I don't know why there was a Winnebago
in Vietnam.
in Vietnam there, but like they were behind this
That's even
burnout
more.
motorhome
They're
thing.
all like,
Because they
hey,
shot that in California.
we got some. Yeah.
Exactly why. All right. So here's where we get to the point where we get to Kansas. The bus pulls off at Kansas. And this is when he finally tells the kid, because the kid tries to get to the payphone, call mom, hangs up on him, and tells the truth about mom. Meanwhile, as they pull into this bus station, there's just a fully armed roving gang of rednecks in a pickup truck just going through the bus up, and
Not only
nobody
armed,
bats
but
an
like
eye.
Uzis and all
Yeah.
kinds of guns.
No
every
one
kind
seems
of
to
gun,
care.
Automatic weapons.
It's Kansas.
They're all
Well,
just,
that's what my wife said too. But I said, look, we live in a town that's pretty small, rural, and lots of guns. But if even in Burlington, if there's a pickup truck with a bunch of guys in the back, especially with an Uzi,
with machine guns.
machine guns, people are going to be like, something is going on.
Get inside, something the other.
Like, it was the 80s. Cocaine is a hell of a
Well,
drug.
that is true. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, so what were they called? The Cornfield Killers?
The Cornfield
In the-
Killers,
in the credits.
The Cornfield Dyers.
That's right.
Idiots.
So what happens here is when Nick tells the kid,
Oh, he runs into the cornfield.
books it into the cornfield, and Nick chases after him into a cornfield. I'm all for a cornfield action sequence. I was like, all right, let's go.
I was right there. I was like, this is how Children of the Corn got started. He's the first one.
Literally the first one. Here's what starts to make no sense, though. Unless they plan
Here's
this
what starts to not make any sense.
about this
About
sequence.
this scene.
Yes, there's been much. They must have planned this months in advance, the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because Slag is in the corn when the kid gets to him
true.
and catches him.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go beyond that. These guys don't live in Kansas.
No.
They live in Vegas.
Yeah.
Or Reno.
Reno.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Reno. Sorry,
Yes.
you're right. They live in Reno, and we just flew to Miami. Mm-hmm. And just, okay, fine. They're happening to follow the bus because they assume that they got on the bus. But yeah, he's got a shed with a freaking
This is why I said
mattress on the floor.
Months of
and
planning.
It's like, what the heck?
Well, and the Greyhound type buses also don't just have like one stop in Kansas on our way to Reno.
Yeah,
like
this is-
there were several other stops on the way, most likely.
Well, the gas station.
This is why I think
down and ate
Slag big brained this. He said, all right,
Oh, yeah.
they're going to get on the bus. They plan all of this. Like, chances are we'll get on the bus, right? We'll have people at the airport just in case. Then when they get to Kansas, we'll pay off the bus driver so that he stops at Kansas at this place. And then I'll be waiting in the cornfield. Make sure he runs direct. Well, how are we going to do that? I don't know. We'll just, hope he runs in the right way. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all that he would already be waiting for this kid in the cornfield and already have a prisoner shack to throw him in.
Well, I mean, there are some serial killers that like had stuff prepped for where they were going to do it. Maybe Slag's one of them guys that's got some shacks around the country.
He's got shacks and cornfields across America.
And, maybe he's ready to go.
Oh my gosh.
He had that
It's a new
cool-
Airbnb idea.
There you go.
Murder Shacks.
Murdershacks.com. There'd be people that would do that.
These rednecks.
I might even.
Deep
Like
web.
a good murder show.
While Slag is throwing him, Nick, or while Slag is throwing the boy in the shack, the other cornfield killers have now made their way into the cornfield, and they are coming at Nick very slowly.
Right.
Yeah.
Gun barrels just coming through the corn as slowly as possible. Fire your weapons.
Yeah.
He hears them. He can smell and hear the corn.
Smell the gun oil.
Like, oh my God,
Right.
that's Remington gun oil. Somebody just recently cleaned an Uzi.
He turns around, kills those guys. We don't see it off. He just
Slices
dead.
them. Slices all the corn in them,
Right.
too.
Then we get Cletus and his friend walking down a row of corn.
Steps into the middle of them.
Right in the middle.
Shoot.
Claps his hands and goes, shoot.
Shoot. They
Steps
turn
back.
around and big old dude shoots a little dude.
Kills his friend.
Kills his friend.
Says nothing.
Nothing. Well,
No reaction.
He's like, uh-oh, they set me up. Guy
Nothing.
with the sword's coming.
He just looks at his friend who he just shot and was like, well, and just turns around and starts heading the other direction.
Not quickly. He's not running away from. Oh, who
He's a
made me
pretty
do
big
that?
guy. He's not running anywhere, but
He ends up getting stabbed in the stomach.
yeah, he does.
Not too far down the line.
He
Now,
gets stabbed. Is this the one where he
Runs
stabs
into it.
He runs into.
Yes.
It's not a high speed,
No.
but somehow.
And the blind guy got ahead of him.
who's the blind person in this scenario?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because he should have just been standing right out there in the open.
It's a allegory of how being a murderous person blinds you to the awareness of what's good
Right.
and true and beautiful. In the
There was not even close to that level of intelligence at any point in this movie. Not even close.
Even if I granted you that, explain the next part. Because we have Slag who has set up shop on top of this shack that he
He's-
put the kid
he's
in.
He
He's
can
standing on
see.
top of his Fortnite build real quick. That's the only thing that explains how it showed up so quickly. Is he was just walking across like bloop, he busts a 90
Yes.
real quick, cranks
then
a
Fortnite
90.
guy's got the idea from this movie.
He's
I always thought that's weird in that game that you build little buildings.
yeah.
That's terrible.
he shoots. He's shooting his shotgun at distance.
I have a
at
question.
range.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know anything about guns.
Yeah.
Is it possible to shoot a shotgun like that without what do
Yes.
they call it? You can have a hand like
Yeah.
just a grip like that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
You
it like
can.
fly up in the air?
Well, it'll
and-
kick back pretty good, but yeah, you can control
You
it.
could do it. But I mean, the fact that he's trying to hit Nick at range with a shotgun
in a cornfield.
in a cornfield,
Yeah.
I'm dubious as to that plan of attack.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
It depends on the choke, on the shotgun,
Sure.
length of the barrel, all these
All that
things. But yeah, it's not the preferred weapon.
No.
And it's also not that this guy didn't prepare for this. There's no way that this man put all of this into action and didn't think about his choice of
Right.
Maybe the cornfield
Weapon.
killers came highly recommended, and he expected them to do far better than they.
Here's the thing. How does this broke casino guy in Reno have cops in Miami in his pocket, rednecks in Kansas in his pocket, right? Plus
Drugs a hell of a thing.
all
man.
these guys in Reno.
Gambling's
He
a hell
didn't
of a
have the
thing.
drugs yet.
They
He
could
has
have gambling debts. They could all have gambling debts to him.
He's got people
Got
everywhere.
leverage. He's a casino owner. They're bad dudes. They got leverage.
Then blackmail these people and pay off whatever he apparently is broke himself.
Well, they're all broke, so they can't do anything. So it's like paying kind.
Yeah, what are these guys? I mean, these guys own like,
An Uzi.
but it's probably not even theirs.
It's rented.
Yeah, it's just like it's given out by McCready. He's just sending his guns across America.
Amazon Prime. Yeah. So all right. So the redneck, he's shooting now. Nick is throwing a scarecrow up with his hat on it to make it look. And so this is what Slag is shooting at with his shotgun. My question is, how in the hell would Nick from that distance know
He's super
that he's
hairy.
up on top of
He's
this
been trained by
shack?
classic Vietnamese martial artists.
But he hasn't
could-
even made a sound at this
He
point.
can smell them.
Where
I
did
could
the
smell.
scarecrow come from?
Where the
In the middle of the
scarecrow.
field. We saw that.
I didn't.
Was it there already?
It was
showed
there.
that
Oh,
already,
I didn't see it either,
I saw
Patrick.
it.
Yeah, they
I
showed
wouldn't
it. It
do
was
the same
there.
thing.
I saw it.
But regardless, there's no way Nick, even with his skills, should have known that he was on top of the shed.
Yeah, I had this thought that a couple times in this movie, and this is the first one where we're going, I think for a guy who's relying primarily on hearing, cornfield would be a really hard place.
I thought that was
Have you
where they were
ever
going with the
listened
scene.
to corn?
Yeah, grows. You can
Like
hear it,
you can
moving.
hear it moving when it's
Yeah.
not windy.
Yeah.
If it's at all breezy,
Right.
it is a noisy plant.
Especially
thought-
if there's like 20 guys in there too.
Well, I
There's-
thought that's what they were doing with the scene, that they were going to go into this cornfield to negate his powers
Nope.
and put your hero through some kind of tribulation. That's what you should do in these movies.
I mean, and plus he was in between those two people when the shot went off.
Yeah.
He was right next to that. Like that's another thing. Like his ears probably would have been ringing too, I would
Maybe he
assume.
put some
imagine.
corn in there before he did that. Husks.
Nick sneaks up on Slag in the shed, takes the shed, topples the shed down on top of the child.
Yes.
That was funny in my household watching this because my wife and daughter are like, that shed doesn't look very strong. Like, I think he could get out. The kid could get out of that shed. It didn't look very tough. And sure enough, it wasn't.
Okay, but you're still bringing down a 300-pound ex-con
on
top
of the shed.
The child that you're trying to protect and rescue.
I mean,
he was under a workbench.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Apparently.
Okay, fine.
You can survive sheds falling on you.
We're going to test this.
This is the best part of this whole stupid scene. Is Nick then, again, is not shot by the man with the gun.
No.
But instead slices up Slag's shirt.
Yes.
Who
Just
then
his shirt.
hits the ground.
His head was bleeding.
And they're able to escape. Okay. Now, a second later, we see Slag rise up.
And he's
not a second later. It's like a scene later. I'm just going to do it now.
Yeah.
Chainmail.
He comes up and he has like a knife-proof shirt on.
Yeah. And he chuckles like a little girl about it.
Yeah, that was a weird laugh.
Well, then what did you pass out from depression for being in this movie? Like, why are you unconscious?
He got hit in the head. He was bleeding.
Okay, but he sliced him in that. He goes, oh, and falls down.
Yeah, I thought he was dead, and I was like, oh, I hope he's not, because he's.
So what knocked him out?
But I think part of the problem is the whole movie. This is one of the things that really kept sticking at me was the fact that there was no difference between the sword action of wounding somebody and like the fatal blows. Like
Right.
Well, that's true.
they always looked the same. And so you are just constantly sitting there going like, well, how is that guy dead? And that guy's not, like it just doesn't, there's no rhyme or reason to it, which maybe is part of the mystery they're trying to build. But again, that's a lot of
I did write in my notes,
intelligence that would be needed.
That guy? I knew he wasn't dead when he was laying
Cut a head off. They're dead.
Or why doesn't he kill him? Why are you allowing him to escape with the child? If you have a knife-proof vest on, when he slices you up and you go, ha ha,
How
bang.
did he know
Well, he was like knocked out.
He didn't. I'm trying to tell you. This is what I'm trying to tell you is he didn't get knocked out. He got sliced by the sword and fell
down.
over. To make it seem as if the sword was the thing.
I mean, I might
be
a little
unconscious.
afraid if someone slashed me with a sword and my head was bleeding. I might
Not
be
if
shocked.
I knew he was going
Slag
to
seemed
slash
like-
at me with a sword.
I've been shocked
because of
laying on
my
the ground.
thing
You
in
play dead.
Miami.
I understand. I'd play dead too.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I
I'm dead.
might, I'd be like, he's got a big sword.
But you
He has a gun.
He sliced me. He's like,
Gun
wow,
beats sword.
I'm really glad this shirt worked. You didn't know if it did.
Rock,
here's
paper,
the
gun,
thing.
sword. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I could back up faster than, this blind guy can effectively walk through cornrows.
Look, in movies with people wearing bulletproof vests, when they get shot, it hurts and they fall, and sometimes they get knocked out. In a movie
That's
with
a
a
bullet.
slashing sword
The
with
sword
a really flimsy shirt on underneath, Slag's like, oh crap, did it work? I don't know. I better just lay here. And
Just
check.
lay here. All right. Yeah, that's fine. We'll move on. But it's on the record.
But I did say, why did he kill him? Because I knew he wasn't dead. I'm like, why isn't he dead?
Kill him. Back at Bad Guy HQ, this is when McCready is mad about money and banks or some nonsense, and we don't even know why. It's just like, well, I need him
He's
to
gotta
make
get
the
his loans
stuff
paid off, yeah.
I got to get the loan to who? We don't know. Paid off because the things are going to happen. and
Lose
it's
the
just
silver spur,
stupid
whatever the
stuff,
casino
whatever.
was called.
He's like, I'm tired of this blind guy. Get me Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that's a great line. I love this.
I think
Bruce Lee's dead.
dead.
Give me Bruce Lee's brother. That's a great line.
They did too. Sort of.
I asked.
Yes.
Don't give it away, but I asked.
No, please.
Is that Bruce Lee's brother?
No. It was not.
I was like, they got
No.
him. Look.
It was not.
No, but that guy actually is like connected to, I think.
He's like legit.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, he's great. He's an accomplished martial artist. Yeah, that was cool to see him come in.
Is this where,
This is the campfire scene.
Is this where he feels his face?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is when we get the campfire, which we don't find out till the morning. He's at an
I thought
actual
the scene
campground.
was very touching.
And he touching. Yeah, it was very touching.
See what he did there?
I like it.
That just came to me too. Aren't you impressed?
grown men, little boys, there
Yeah.
shouldn't be touching
But
scenes.
he's blind. How else is he going to see him? And then he's giving them all this great advice
know,
about
but-
it's okay for strong men to cry.
And that's
Can you
fine.
cry? I can't cry because my tear ducts don't work, and that's important for the end.
And that's
it's a
fine.
beautiful moment.
But the touching went a little. It lingered a
I
little
didn't think
bit.
so. My wife was like, at least he stayed above the neck.
I know you're blind, but at least he stayed above the neck.
So I agree. I was a little nervous, but he
Are
stopped.
you crying? Yes, that's my shirt.
No, there's another scene later on.
Yeah.
Things are really
Good.
not good.
Strong boy.
Yes, and it was funny. And he didn't just
Jimmy,
say
you
my
ever seen
tear
a
ducts
grown
don't
man
work.
naked?
This is. He didn't just say my tear ducts don't work. This is the line of dialogue written by Mr. Jim Cotta himself.
Okay.
The place that makes tears inside my head doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
True story.
That's a good line.
I've been there.
He's trying to explain to this little kid about stuff.
He's not 4.
He's pretty young. I like the kid. I like their dynamic.
In the morning, there's a shadow of a bug flying around on top of this kid, which is some of the best special effects I've ever seen in my life. And
this is a funny scene, too.
he takes his sword out,
Slices it.
cuts the bug in half, and you just get
In midair.
this old lady.
These old people are just having lunch next
Like,
to him.
this is my one line.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you see that?
We should get one of those, honey.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
We got to get one of those.
Gotta get one of those.
That was awesome. That was so funny.
We need to get a blind guy to take care of the bugs. Like, that's way better than the bugs ever.
Does she mean we need to get a blind guy?
I think she meant we need, maybe.
A blind guy with a sword.
Blind guy with a
instead
sword.
of the bug zapper.
It only works if you got a blind guy with a sword.
We broke Patrick.
You didn't see the bug, man.
No, you never
That was a
did.
huge
You are
bug.
old. I don't care. If I see this, I'm concerned about the man sword fighting above the
The
child,
child.
not thinking like, oh, look at that. He
They're
took
old
out a
people.
bug.
They've seen it all, man. They're like, whatever.
There's no way they saw that
I
bug.
don't
at
think
that
they
stage.
saw a sword fighting with children.
No.
Might have.
I agree with you, Patrick.
This guy's probably World War II or Korean veteran. I've seen worse than that.
They finally get to Frank's apartment. Nick and Billy get to Frank's apartment, where Annie answers the door, but they are immediately captured by Lyle and Tector, or the brothers.
This part, the whole movie gets better now.
Does it? Okay. and
I love these guys.
and they stick him in the back of this van, and so they're on the front. The brothers in the front with
Look
Annie.
out! It doesn't work if he's blind.
And that's
Watch
right,
out,
it's
or
true.
something like that.
And they get now Nick and Billy are tied up in the back of the van.
And he calls him Blind Zorro.
He does call them blind. I like the brothers. They had all kinds of good
they're good
lines.
stuff.
Yeah.
Lyle and
Yeah.
Tector, I would have liked if they had just been the bad guys for the
Yes.
whole movie. That would have been
Absolutely.
fantastic.
What was the name of the other guy? Slag?
Tector.
Slag?
Slag was Tector.
Slag couldn't do it. We took care of it. You know, they're all bragging
right.
up on each
Bragging
other.
on
It's
each
like,
other.
Yeah, we're so
This
good.
is Nick Cassavetes
In the
and
van.
Rick Overton. Now, Rick Overton, if you were to go, he's one of those guys. He's been in everything.
I'm pretty sure he was
Everything.
Pam Beasley's dad in The Office.
Might have been.
I'm almost 100% sure.
Yeah. He was in. Go look at his filmography. It's insane. Okay. He plays Nick Cassavetes' brother. Those are the two. And Nick Cassavetes was last on the show in The Wraith. He was Packard in The Wraith. And so happy to have him back for this as well. But they stick him back, and the two of them are in the van. Now, explain to me. They're both tied up, and they're not like this when they start, but Nick maneuvers himself to be laying headfirst in the boy's lap. Okay.
Yeah, but he's blind. He can't tell.
That wasn't the bad part.
But he's still got good instincts. Is that what you're saying?
He had that boy roll into his lap, and there was a look on that man's face that was just like, you have opened the door to paradise for me now. It was terrible. No, but like
Nick's a
that
good
boy fell into his lap, and there is a face that he makes that is not good.
You think so?
I was.
Well, I was impressed with the video editing that they didn't show his butt as he was taking his arms out from underneath.
No, that's true. That was good.
They were pretty
good.
sensitive there.
Here's the plan, though. So their plan is
Maybe they
to
cut some stuff from that.
start a fire in the back of this van.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once they come back around to investigate the fire, we'll spray them with this fire extinguisher, and then even though they have guns, and then we will take the van.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
It worked.
And it
worked.
freaking works.
I love it
Against
when the
all
kid
odds.
throws the fire extinguisher and hits Kyle's head. That's so great.
And I think it made another one of those boink noises when it hit him too.
And I didn't realize the whole time the people in the front can see what's going on back there.
This is happening.
But
Yeah.
the girl, the woman did.
Yeah, she's
She
seeing
saw
because
it.
she's facing
Yeah.
backwards.
Now, grossest scene in the movie, he cuts himself with the sword.
He 47 Ronins. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but I got so much crap for that. In 47 Ronin, they, right before the final battle, they pull out their samurai swords just a little bit, press their thumbs on it to have a little blood, and they mark the contract in blood, right? And I made the comment like, y'all are about to go fight a final battle, and you're all injuring your thumbs right before the final fight. You're going to be riding in with sore thumbs.
He's like, is it sharp?
Why are we doing that? So he 47, and this I felt validated after this because he goes, "Wah!" Like it was the worst injury that's ever happened.
And he's like, lick it.
This thing's cursed, and he chucks Nick's sword out the window.
Nick's
So what
smart.
she
He
hears,
says, start
boom.
counting.
Yeah, he hears it.
He
counting.
feels it hit the ground. There was like
They have a
there was
connection.
a weird bong sound when it hit the ground, like this thing made an echo through.
It cried out to its
cosmos.
owner.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I'm out of
ridiculous.
the window.
And what happens is he tells the kid, start counting. right? Because this is the way he's going to get back to. That's math. I want Patrick, you can shake your head, but that's math. Dude.
I thought that was
It would be if they were not speeding away at the aftermath. So the bad guys don't want to draw attention, so it seems like they're driving at a normal speed. However, when they're escaping, they're driving much faster. So they wouldn't wind up at the same spot if they were counting both directions.
If two vans leave the same point and one is going
this is one of the
40 miles an hour.
I never did well in word
So he should have counted 25% faster on the way back?
Or half as long.
Or half as long?
Yeah.
You have to figure out the inverse
and plus she went the one direction first.
Yeah.
And then somehow miraculously, without probably any professional stunt driving, whips the cleanest Yui between
the
two.
Sweet shitty with this
I
Ford
mean,
van.
this thing I was just like, there's no way. But she's gone the wrong direction a couple seconds.
Well, that's how it
then
works.
turns
because
around.
He started
I mean,
counting.
that's how it catches up. Yeah, you're right.
He counted up 3 seconds and then 3 seconds. That's 6 seconds off the clock. Perfect.
Yeah.
But this in Austin Powers when they there's that scene where that's what it would have been like with this Ford van for real in this scene.
That would have been amazing if they'd have done it.
They're on a bridge and it's like 2 lanes.
With barriers on each side.
And it's tight in there.
That would have been so good if they would have done the 53-point U-turn.
And when they come to investigate the fire, they pull the van over. They open up the doors. They get douched with the fire extinguisher, and he chucks one, conks one. I'm like, shoot them. I had said this in like 4 scenes already. It doesn't matter. They go run around to the front, and thank God Annie makes the decision like, oh, I'm going to help you guys, because I don't know, the plan was to have Nick drive, which comes up in a second. But you're right. Annie busts a Yui, and this is when he starts telling the kid, all right, now start counting back. So I know how further back.
Yeah, why count backwards?
Just count up to 31 again.
Up to the same point.
It's like, because the kid struggles. 31.
He's like, now it would have made it even longer.
He didn't even say 31. He starts right with 30.
The kid's look in his face is like, I don't think I can do this. He's like, I think he was supposed to just say start counting. He's like,
so now
backwards,
any of the
I gotta
benefit
act and start counting backwards.
Yeah. by the U-turn is lost.
Now gone.
You're right. They should have been a mile off course. But of course, right when he says
movie magic,
he goes stop, and they keep going.
Yeah.
What now? Yeah, stop right now.
She slides another 50 V2.
Floors that thing.
I told my wife, I said, this is before analog brakes.
There was only rear brakes on that van, by the way. There were no front brakes on that van. That's how they were able to get it to do the U-turn.
Now they get out and they're searching for the sword.
They gotta find the sword.
So pause on that. Back to the brothers. One is unconscious in the road.
Yeah.
And they are flagging down a car that's pulling up.
This 2-door Lincoln Continental, man. This thing is bad.
It's a nice car.
Nice car,
Digging this
man.
thing,
Right?
dude.
That thing's huge.
He gets these old
Big enough
ladies
to take on a van.
to roll down the window, and these nice old ladies, he's like trying to give them their sob story, whereas Cassavetes is just like, get out of here, right? The other brother's trying to sweet talk
poor
him,
old ladies.
and he just pulls the ladies out on the side of the road and takes off. But she's got the gun like the Joker had in Batman,
Long
1989.
Make you feel like Dirty Harry.
This is one of the best lines in the movie, though.
Go for it. She shoots it out the window.
Jesus Christ, and Tector says, yep, that's why one reason I always vote for gun control.
Because the old lady blew the back window out of her own car as they drove away.
Because, that's the last thing you want as a criminal is to have an armed populace. That would be terrible.
That was such a good line.
She pulls, it's like the Mary Poppins bag.
Yes.
This comes out of her purse, and it's 4 feet long.
That was good stuff.
One reason I always voted for gun control.
It's ridiculous.
That's a great line.
Wasn't this one too where they just barely missed crushing the guy's head like a melon?
Yeah, well, the old lady almost.
Yeah, like I was like, oh man, we're about to see something cool here.
Yeah.
Nope.
He's like,
They just stopped just in time.
Yeah.
All right, so a little further down the road, they do find the sword. They count backwards. They're like, oh, here it is. I think Billy finds it. And on their way back to the van, Nick steps on Annie's glasses like Scooby-Doo style. And so now she can't see without her glasses.
How her glasses
Here's
fell
the thing,
off.
though.
So Nick has to drive.
Here's the thing, though. I will take Charles without his glasses driving before a blind man any freaking
My
day
wife
of
said
the
this
week.
as well. Like, she can at least see shapes.
Right.
She's got a shot. She's driven in the last 20 years.
Yes.
Also that.
These weren't like Harry Carey thick glasses, like Coke bottle glasses either. So my guess is that it's just a little.
In fact, they weren't actually
maybe
prescription. They were just
They were just her readers.
Yeah, they were just some $5 readers from Walgreens.
They're 1.25 Magnas from friggin' Walgreens.
Did you notice what happened? So Nick goes, I'll drive. He gets in and he throws it in park and takes off.
Takes off.
Yeah.
I'm like, everybody understands. I don't know why you would do that for visual.
You know why?
Everyone understands up is park on the shifter.
It's possible, but I didn't look at this van enough, and we didn't get to look at the pedals. If that thing was 3 on a tree, 2U and up
could have
is first
been.
gear.
Maybe it was
could have been.
manual.
Actually, no. 2U and up would be reverse. 2U and down.
So either way,
that'd be a tough one, but still.
he throws it up and takes off.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Now
They
that you
keep the
mention it-
windshield wipers on, which was interesting through all that scene after, like, well, those are the wipers. And so they paid attention to that detail,
Yes.
but not the gear
But
selector.
not the fact that he throws it into park and takes off.
This was probably the longest drive the wrong way in traffic scene I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And amazingly, a lot of people got out of the way. But one of them didn't. And there was an actual crash that was not planned, and they just kept it in the
I
middle.
love that. They're like, we're just going to keep that in.
And it was like,
Pay that
they said
person.
it was very, very many stunt drivers.
I mean, I don't think editing was a high priority on this
No.
film. So.
They only had 10 million.
They're driving
we can
into
crash
Reno.
cars. We can't fix film.
They're driving into Reno here. The bad guys have now caught up to him at this point in the old lady's car, and they're fine sitting out the window in broad daylight, firing their guns at the back of this van.
Right.
Reno,
Wild
man.
West,
All
man.
these people around, no problem.
Wild, Wild West.
Nick's doing amazingly well as a
Are we in
driver.
a tunnel?
We do get the one, tropey road rage guy that's like, "What are you blind?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's
right?
your excuse?
That's a good line.
And yes, but it's super
Stupid.
obvious.
This whole scene is dumb, but it was fun.
He turns the wrong way. He's like, no, you guys are going the other way. It's a one-way street. And he ends up going on one-way street, and all these cars are getting out of the way. This is when they have that actual crash. And finally, the brother's car gets pushed off to the side, and it's going to collide with a parked car. But they always jump the cars.
And the front end doesn't even look bent.
No.
And it was
Not
like,
yet.
they're like the same car, basically.
They're the same car.
Yeah,
There's
same
never a
height,
collision.
Never a collision.
They always have them jump and flip with those stupid.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
they
know they
put a
put one of
ramp
those
there,
ramps
yeah.
up there or whatever.
Good stuff.
But it's such a trope.
They did.
Yeah, it would just be an accident.
It would just be an accident, wham. But instead, we got to have them jump the other car like it's Dukes of Hazzard.
If anything, the car coming in on the brakes would dive under the car sitting
That's
station.
true. Especially them old boats, because they
Yeah.
really move around.
Seriously.
Yeah. I thought that was dumb. There's no way a blind
Do
guy
you
could
think
drive
that
with
there's
a
enough room in the
kid.
back of that car for a couple of men to wrestle naked?
4 or 5.
4 or 5? Yeah.
They leave, so they
Grown
have
men.
some friend. Annie has some yoga girl friend who lives in a trailer out in Reno. So they leave Billy with yoga girl. And Nick tells him, I have to go, right? I've got to go save your dad. And they have, to reference what Charles said earlier, the closest conversation that two humans have ever had before. He's like speaking to my eyeball.
Yes.
This literally,
Yes.
right? Like, I was so uncomfortable.
It's like me with this microphone. I keep hitting it when I close my eyes and laughing. It's just,
It's like when 3-year-olds are like, I want to tell you a secret, and they talk into your mouth. They don't even talk into your ear. They just talk directly, right into your mouth. And every virus that they've picked up at preschool is now just being
well, we already got people licking wounds with
shotgun right
AIDS
into your
here.
mouth.
What's the do with the face? I'm like, ew.
That's a great
They
point.
were super close.
Oh my gosh. They all right, so then Nick is now on his own. He's left Billy with the girl. And at this point he is in the casino. And we get another, I'm going to wear out this button today. Bad guy walks through the casino floor giving his entire plan in earshot of the hero.
Right.
Well, I've got to get him to make these drugs so I can pay off the guys by midnight or I'm in
Right.
trouble. Like literally as he's walking
Yeah.
the public casino
Right through
floor.
the, food prep area or whatever.
Right through where Nick is standing there going, oh, okay, yeah, no, now I know what's going on here. And Nick watches them go to the penthouse, and now he knows he's got to get, he listens
he
to
didn't
the,
watch.
he listens, you're right.
Yeah, he did.
He listened to them go upstairs, and he listens to the keypad, so he knows,
knows the
password.
tones.
But there's
In a
two,
casino, you're never going to hear that.
the ringing, ding,
Yes.
ding, ding, ding. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But there's two guards, so he's got to create some kind of melee, to...
This I love to see.
to get rid of the guard so he can go up the elevator. So he chooses to play roulette.
I was a little confused in this scene. How was he so good at roulette?
How do you, I guess what he's saying is there's a way to know,
He could hear the
Hear
ball.
the ball.
but you have to bet before it rolls,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
So
That's
maybe
the
he
problem.
lost a bit. And now he hears the ball and he knows how it's going to land.
Yeah, but you can't because the ball ain't out. Oh, well, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I guess rolling
I was willing-
50-50 when you're doing red and black anyway.
I was
do throw
willing
it out.
at this point just be like, okay, fine.
he was just on let it ride mode though. So like they kept putting more and just leave it on.
well,
red,
it must have been the ball because the new guy shows up.
Right after he's won a bunch of money, then the new dealer is not a dealer, it's roulette, whatever, ball roller guy
Who's
comes
the
over,
guy, yeah.
and now they're gonna fix the game. He's got a special ball and a beeping thing in his shirt, which any person
26
who's
black.
not blind could hear.
Yes.
The beeping. Okay,
That was a little confusing to me. It was a huge thing.
a huge thing in his pocket. He doctors
And
the
it wasn't
game.
even like in his down pocket. It was like in his coat pocket, like his
No,
shirt
like
pocket.
where
So
his
he had to
pencils
put
would
his
be.
hand up and push the button in front of everyone.
Right.
I feel like this is where the Houston Astros got the idea for their cheating scandal. They were just like, hey, there you go.
Do you guys ever see Blind Fury?
This is how we're going to win the
We're gonna
World Series.
meet in the dugout. We're gonna talk about this.
And Nick's like, oh, I see what's happening.
That's right.
Pulls out that sword and starts going to town.
Slices up the dude's shirt. Nobody moves or reacts
No,
at all
it's so fast.
because the
Blind Fury, man.
exposes the
It flops
the
open
thing.
and
Yeah.
sees-
Then
and yeah.
pops the wheel over, the roulette wheel upside down, and they can see
And
the
lo and behold, there's little
Electric on the
magnetic
26th.
things there.
yes, magnetic thing there, and then pandemonium
The
breaks
black
loose.
lady comes in and is like, look at this. She picks it up and the place goes nuts. They're cheating.
All right, she was my favorite performance
Yeah,
in the entire
was
movie.
awesome.
This was like, I get a line in this
Yep,
movie.
I'm making the most of
and
it.
I am giving this
Yes.
everything. Look at
Yeah, they're cheating us.
this! It was so freaking
And
awesome.
Rutger
dude.
ducks down.
Everyone starts. This is
mean,
like in
Nick
Breaker
ducks
Breaker
down.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody just starts beating the crap out of each other,
Yeah.
like in Rolling Vengeance too.
For no good reason.
People that came with each other were like starting
Like
to fight.
I've
you know.
always wanted to beat my wife. This is my opportunity.
My opportunity.
Total
He
pandemonium.
ducks down, and of course, he puts his hands up and grabs his winnings, but then he doesn't have
Yes,
them later.
he doesn't get him.
I know it's like 15 years too early, but at this point, I really want like Dangle and Jonesy and Garcia and all the
Reno,
fall from
yes.
Reno, yeah, to come roaring in. Like it would have like. If some of this would have made more
Incredible.
sense, and I think to some
good.
like I think like it would have been good at that point.
Yeah.
It would have
They
been
should
like
done a
actual
Reno
people.
911 episode like this
Yes.
is happening.
They should have gone back to it.
Yeah.
That would have been brilliant. That would have been brilliant.
Oh, it's like that Blind Fury thing again. You know,
Yeah.
just
I remember when that happened at the casino. Nick goes over and he's on the ground crawling, and he punches in. As he's punching it in, Lyle and his brother Tector have showed up on the other side of the melee and just start walking up, turning people around, punching them in the face.
random people who
turn
are
this
just
person
standing.
around, punch this person in the face. Right?
yeah,
Those guys are
spearing
great.
through traffic.
Yeah, it's just,
He puts the correct code, but when it opens up, there's already a waiter in the elevator with a cart.
yeah.
Who doesn't seem to mind that this guy is crawling into his elevator with
Well,
him.
see
You
what
would
they
think
do.
that the
It's
guy
Reno.
with the
It is
waiter
Reno, I
with the
was-
cart would have got out.
Or something.
Because he was on the elevator for a reason.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
goes from up there to down
Customer
here.
service is important in Reno.
He stuffs the waiter into the cart.
Does
Yeah.
he?
Yeah,
Yes.
because when he gets discovered earlier upstairs, because
Oh,
so
that's
Nick
right.
gets
He's got
upstairs,
his outfit on.
and I love the henchmen upstairs even more. Those guys were awesome. The upstairs henchmen, they hadn't been. These guys were the promoted ones. The guys are the downstairs henchmen haven't gotten their promotion yet. The upstairs henchmen, elevator opens, and it's now Nick is the waiter with
Yeah.
the cart,
I missed that part.
which they eventually stop and figure out. Open the cart up, waiter is stuffed inside of it. Okay. And he's able to take out these two guys by just boinking them in the nose
Winking him in the nose. Yeah.
with the sword.
Yeah. They weren't expecting that day.
It's a magic sword staff thing.
It's
that
amazing.
Can't get away.
He takes out the two security guards. He cuts the elevator buttons off of the
Yeah.
wall, which is something I've never thought in my life. Why don't we just cut them off?
Just cut 'em off.
Just cut off the elevator and stab the elevator button.
I mean, it's not all that different in like Star Wars where they're shooting the.
No, but
the
it's the
lifts
first time I've ever
and
seen
all
someone
that,
slice the buttons off.
About the same quality movie too.
And the angle at which he
You know, you're
cuts
just trying to
things.
rile us up over there. Patrick Riley.
See, I try to just zoom right past that.
I'm on a pun roll.
It went to 0.
Other way.
Red.
Perfect.
That's 5.
All right.
That's 2. It's reversed in the.
That's a 5.
All right. What the hell was I saying?
I don't know. It's hot in here.
Oh, and the angle at which he cuts things is never quite right with his sword.
He's blind.
Right.
No, but
Right, so people shouldn't be getting hurt or dying.
is he sliced directly at the wall, but somehow the buttons got sliced like he was even with the wall, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like in a second, so right here, he's about to walk into
He
Cobb's
shaved
office.
with a slash.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So he goes into Cobb's office after taking out the security guards, and I do like Cobb's line. It's this big, giant, old, fat guy, and he goes, "F.O. Errol Flynn." You know what that means?
Errol Flynn.
And this is when Nick slashes at his face.
Knocks his eyebrows off.
His eyebrows.
Oh
To
my
cut
God.
someone's eyebrows off, you have to go up, down.
Dude.
He slashed like this.
Dude, he's a ninja master.
You don't know what the end of that sword looks like. You didn't get a
Seriously.
good look. It could have had a little downturn on the end.
He's got a little.
You know
It's
what
got
I mean?
a bic
comes
at
in,
the end of it.
Look, he
Yeah.
comes in
He's got a
sideways.
freaking
for
lady
air
bic taped to the
resistance.
end for that scene. It's like sink.
He comes in sideways for air resistance, and right at the last moment, genius and skilled that he is, he flicks it up,
Flicks it upward.
open over, and
Got it.
I don't think that happened, though.
But it's to our naked eye.
Wait, it's so fast you can't see.
To our naked eye,
nothing
it just
about
looks like a
his
slash.
nothing about his
Ninjas
sword
move so quickly you
moves
don't
weren't
even
fast
know what
at all.
they're doing.
Well, they
Blind
slowed down the
ninjas even
film.
move faster.
His eyebrows stayed together and fell onto the desk.
It's bushy eyebrows.
Okay. It was awesome.
Yes. And then
And
he's
Not
like,
a single drop of blood.
and then he
not
also
even.
says, "You're gonna get the
Perfect
line."
save.
Oh, do it. I want you to do it.
He says, "Wait, what is the line?"
I also.
He says, "Oh yeah." The guy looks down shocked. He says, "I also do circumcisions."
Yeah.
While his pants are still on, probably. Right? He just sliced through his pants and get it circumcised.
Zippers ain't gonna keep him out. He's got dexterity,
Okay.
blind, hearing, smelling. Smelling's kind of good.
Ew.
We,
Dexterity.
smells the schmegma.
we cut to the drug lab where Walter White's in there making blue meth. Or Frank.
Frank.
Devereaux.
Can I tell you something that struck me about this?
Yes.
You know, like when we get like this real good view, I think he was actually Terrence O'Quinn in the credits for this one as opposed to Terry O'Quinn. They did a really good job in Lost of capturing the hairline and everything, I feel like, of John Locke as the younger man when they did those flashbacks. Because it was the same guy. I mean, of course it's the same guy, but it was like that's exactly who he was as a person, not just as the actor or the character in Lost.
This and what's the thing I always think of Terry O'Quinn from is actually Tombstone. I don't know if you've ever seen Tombstone, but he was one of the lawmen that tried to talk Wyatt Earp, and he's like, yes, he's trying to talk the Earps into getting back into law enforcement. And they keep telling him, I'm retired. He goes, what about you? To Sam Elliott used to be a lawman. He's like, I don't, lots of good people are dying, but don't let me take any more of your precious time. That was Terry O'Quinn in that movie.
All right.
And,
and
in
called
Lost.
dibs on the Tombstone episode.
Maybe on Good Movies rule.
I went to college just a couple blocks away, well, for 5 weeks, and then my fraternity had issues with how I drank, and they talked to the school, and I got asked to leave. But Wyatt Earp is from Monmouth, Illinois, and the Wyatt Earp museum was just a couple blocks from the campus where I went to school.
That's awesome.
That leads me to an interesting story I experienced yesterday.
Please.
Now let's go. Chuck
So
Tails.
I dropped my oldest child off at college yesterday, which is a weird experience for parents to do. And as we're driving out of the Whitewater campus, we go down basically what is like Rental House and Fraternity Row, and several of the houses have signs that says, "You honk, we drink."
Good
And
stuff.
there's people out partying, and I'm like, this is not what parents want to see on drop off your kid to school weekend. There's a whole bunch of frat parties going on, people drinking their minds out.
That's the tame stuff.
I know. So anyways, that reminded me of that. Maybe that's why I like the boys so much in this movie, is that I'm having emotional issues with my son going away to school.
Well, it's better than if they had said, like, you honk, we strip or something like that.
Well, that's
right?
true.
And that would have been bad.
Yeah.
But
is nudity worse than, alcohol?
I had a friend who dropped off their daughter at a college. I think it was out east. He said there were signs up on houses as he drove in, like, "Don't worry, Dad, we'll take care of her."
Ooh.
And things like that.
That's unpleasant. Yeah.
That's bad.
And I'm like, dude,
That's when you're calling the bank to cancel that check.
Yeah, we're
bro.
going back home.
That's what I'm
baby
saying,
girl.
dude.
Hey, have you guys seen Community College?
seriously.
Yes.
All right, so Walter White's in there cooking his blue meth, and he literally pulls out a syringe. He's like, all right, time to shoot some meth into these rats, get them high as farts in here. And right as he's about to thank God they didn't do it, Nick comes into the room, and Frank kind of underwhelmed by the fact he sees his...
too. I'm like, wait, his friend's alive.
Yeah.
It's blind, and his friend's like a ninja. Like, all of those would have been like, what the heck is going on? But
Right.
no, Frank's kind of pretty even keeled.
He's like, oh.
Tell the cart hanging car.
Yeah, he's like, what's up, Nick?
That's what those things called.
He's like,
Trams?
what's up, dude?
Hanging
No,
trams?
the ski lift.
Gondola.
Gondola.
I was just gonna let it go, man.
I was gonna say.
It's like, come on, he's gonna get this.
Yeah.
He's like,
I
let's
was
get...
a long ways from it.
Nick's like, we got to get out of here, Frank. Frank's like, no, let's do a line first.
It would give you more energy.
And would certainly would.
Why did he take the drugs?
He said I got to
My
keep all
daughter
this
asked that
drugs with me.
I'm
Just in
maybe
case.
Just burn 'em up.
leverage?
I think the problem is asking why at any point in this movie. I think it just is.
reason.
Because
No
if
reason.
Frank thought there was.
if he didn't take the
Like,
drugs
I'm
with
making
him,
this crap. I'm taking it with me.
if he didn't
That's what I think it was. It
But
was
if he didn't take them with him, how was he going to have any bargaining power
I
at
think
the end
that's
here in a
yes, he
minute?
did
That's true.
bargaining
That's
power.
true.
This is
They
the
do
boost.
pour a
but
bunch
he
of...
doesn't know the whole thing that's going on outside of
No,
that about like his
armor.
son and all that kind of stuff. I think he's taking it because, hey, this is my recipe. And I'm going
Well, he is a
and
chemist,
opening up
right?
my own business.
It's a Kentucky Fried Chicken situation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He is a
Yep.
chemist. He probably is proud of his
He's
work,
like, these are the
even though he didn't
32
want to do
herbs
it.
and spices.
They were
here.
probably like 98% pure or some shit like
That's
that. It
what
was
I'm saying.
blue.
Dude, they started to pour gasoline all over the and I'm like, technically, usually
You might make that drug better.
meth labs don't need a lot of help going up in flames. So, you know,
One of the guys I was in rehab with, surprise everybody. One of the guys I was in rehab with actually was there because he blew up his own house.
Oh.
His
Yeah.
meth lab blew up.
that's what I'm saying.
And the funny thing is like everybody I've met a couple people that have done this. They've blown up their home and they are all nerdy chemists. They're not like former like whatever. But yeah, he blew his house up and the cops came and everything and his lawyer was like, you need to go to rehab, man. Like otherwise the judge isn't going to go easy on you.
Yeah.
Blowing up houses in neighborhoods ain't generally.
So I'm saying you don't need to be pouring gasoline inside of a meth lab
Yeah.
to make this thing go up in flames. But, you know, go off, man. Do your thing. They burn that all stuff up. They get back to the trailer to find out that Yoga Girl is dead and that McCready has Billy and Annie prisoner already.
Yep.
And he gets on the phone that's clearly not plugged in.
That's true, but you know
To
what's
the
awesome
phone.
about that phone? It's leather wrapped.
Hey, children,
Okay,
there was a
great.
time where the
Awesome.
phone had to be plugged in from the
it's-
head.
Yeah, maybe it was headset.
Maybe it was
it's
fully
not
charged.
connected.
Maybe it was fully charged.
It had a
Hands-free.
wire.
Yeah, maybe it was
Bluetooth.
fully charged.
It was
and
not
it didn't need to be.
It was not Bluetooth. It was not
It was
charged.
leather wrapped.
It was a freaking 80s house phone
was leather
that
wrapped.
wasn't plugged in.
was leather
The
wrapped.
wire is just dangling there.
Leather wrapped. It didn't need to be plugged in. It's leather wrapped. I want a leather wrapped phone.
It was
That's
fully
like-
charged. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I agree with
Leather
Clint.
fine,
It was
whatever.
it was cordless.
It was that.
McCready on the other end of this phone that doesn't work says, "You guys meet me up at Winter Haven at the top of this ski resort. Why?
No reason.
Why are you up there? Like, meet him at your office.
Because
What are you
everybody,
doing?
every bad guy
Has
has
to
a
have.
lair.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time trope.
Although it's like a winter retreat. It's like a public hotel.
Right, it's like a place that people like
And there was snow on the ground.
Yeah, it was cold.
So it was
a
actually like
family trying to ski in there.
it's actually like
I think
skiing
Well, it's
time.
Tahoe probably then.
and some of the it was Tahoe,
I think-
actually. It
yeah,
is. It's
okay.
Snow Creek or something.
Whatever.
It's very famous. Actually, Olympics were there back in the 80s.
right now
Here's the interesting
during
thing.
the movie.
And I just forgot what was interesting.
There's an interesting thing about going up to the ski resort.
Oh,
to go,
I bet they're like, dude, screw being in the Midwest and West. It's hot down here. Where can we go that's colder? Let's go up to Utah, baby. It's beautiful that time of day. In fact, I read that it was so hot that Tim Matheson had a 3-foot pool put out for the
for
cast to hang out in.
I love
in
it.
between takes.
Did their glasses melt because it was so hot
I
out?
don't know, maybe.
Frank makes some homemade napalm or
that was
sparklers in a jar or whatever. I mean, every time there's an
Gasoline
explosion, it's just like
detergent.
a sparkler.
Homemade napalm.
They
Styrofoam.
take the ski lift cable car thing gondola up to the top, and all of the henchmen that previously appeared in the movie come out at the same time and shoot the
single
shit out of this thing.
Yeah.
So many henchmen.
Everybody who's not dead.
All of the bullets. All of the bullets. I'm like, don't they need him?
All of them are there. Kaboom, kablamo, blessed it all to pieces.
The whole point was that you needed him to come and make and bring the stuff. What if he didn't have it with him?
Yeah,
Well, I
he's
figured just
made
bought it
enough.
for-
It'll be on the ground.
It'll be
We'll
on the
be
ground.
fine.
If he brought it with him,
Bloody drugs will still work.
Well, that
you
is
know,
true. They didn't. Oh, he did.
they
say
wouldn't have
it.
even known that. So I don't know. But regardless, they
kind of
shot
a shoot first, ask questions later.
They shot it like crazy. We got the upstairs henchman, the downstairs henchman, Lyle and his brother, Slag. They're just shooting the crap out of this
the
thing.
handless cop was there. Even.
But when they walk in, I know he's like the other cop's got bandages across his chest. He's there shooting.
You start cutting people's swords, they get a little angry. They want to come shoot you, man.
They get into the gondola and they
killed my
realize
friend.
they dipped out of a hatch in the bottom, and now they're somewhere in the resort. And they're like, oh no. Everyone in this movie is just an idiot. Yep. Okay, he catches Lyle. They're hiding in the hallway. He catches Lyle with a sword in his mouth.
Yeah, I was like, please don't cut his mouth. I hate that.
Right, and he started to even get a little bloodiness on the side of his mouth.
Don't do it.
And this is how dumb his brother Tector is.
Yes.
He's just waving Lyle in front of him back and forth like, oh, you can't shoot me. And so Tector just shoots his brother.
Lyle says, shoot him.
Right. But he's just doing this very slowly.
Tector shoots his brother.
So all he had to do is just go, hold on a second, bang.
Talk about your brotherly competition then.
He just blows his brother away.
He does, and then his brother
shoots him
back in the head. I was like, whoa, that escalated quickly. Is that like, my brother's quite a bit older than me, so we never had that. But is that so, like, I know brothers can kind of get into wrestling matches,
exactly
and then
what it is.
Never been.
Builds up too quick all of a sudden, and then
wrestling,
really blows.
Shooting each other, I don't think is a thing.
I think these
very
boys
often.
are like, you shot me, I'm shooting you, brother. They had some emotional
If Bob pushes me around too hard, I shoot him in the face, too.
I can't tell you that I haven't envisioned how it would happen.
I did not like the end of the Kyle boys.
My thing is just the staging of the action.
It seemed very violent.
Weird and slow. And you don't have to set up the scenarios this way to make it seem like you could have had him further back, right? And he's yelling, shoot him. At the last second, he pulls him in front or something that makes it look like that Tector's not a moron. The fact they staged it so close to each other where you could have easily reached around. Like that's all staging and blocking of the actors, and all this is just filmmaking stuff.
I thought it was an unusually violent death for those two characters,
specifically for those two,
because they were like fun, and you liked them, and you're like, oh, to shoot each
didn't
other.
have to do it that way.
For Kyle, Kyle shoot his brother that way.
Nick crawls from here into a bar where
not only does he crawl into a bar.
Through a band. He
crawls into a drum kit.
Through a drum kit, knocks a guitar. He's dragging a guitar along with him. And again, so he's either as skilled or as idiotic as they need him to be for any scene.
He's ringing a cymbal that hung around his neck.
When a bunch more henchmen.
They're still there. They all circle.
A bunch more henchmen that we've never seen before. And I'm like, I know why McCready's broke. He's hired too many damn henchmen.
Guys.
He's paying too many people. He should start with his payroll.
I can tell you, man, having an entourage is expensive.
So I'm saying, start with your payroll first, man, before you start kidnapping kids and you got to make blue meth for me and all this stuff.
James spends a fortune on me and his entourage.
Cut a few people off the henchman payroll.
I mean, that's what they do. Like, Amazon is like, hey, we're not making as big of a profit as we thought. What should we do? Let's get rid of the 15% of it's like always the very first thing.
Right. Except for McCready. He's trying to keep his boys employed, which I can respect.
I mean, yeah.
I guess.
He's faithful.
Like, they got family.
I don't think that's why he's keeping them employed. They're just body shields so that he's less likely to be shot himself.
And up in the wherever he's waiting with the hostages, he's got these two trench coat wearing 80s henchmen that are there to do this drug deal once the stuff gets there.
Don Johnson wannabe.
Yeah.
With the sleeves pushed up on the suit jacket, like the 80s. Yes. Oh, I hated that look with the T-shirt underneath it.
It's terrible. And eventually they leave. They're like, we're sorry, we have to go be henchmen in other movies. We can't be here anymore. Like, they have to just take off early. Okay? So, you guys are going to regret this or whatever. They leave.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all right. They're gone. Fine.
Wait, were they henchmen? I thought he was
They were the drug dealer.
They were drug dealers.
Oh, he was a drug dealer.
But they looked like 80s henchmen.
Yes, they did.
They didn't look like drug dealers to me.
I don't look like 80s. They look like every
Miami
henchman
Vice
guys.
Ever seen in
Big
any
mullets.
movie ever. Frank, I think it's Frank. Somebody hits the lights while Nick is surrounded on the,
They start shooting.
On the dance floor.
Yeah.
This is great.
I thought there was going to be some breakdance
And they'll
fighting or
start
something.
shooting each other. And
Well, before that, even the guy goes, I can't see shit.
Yeah.
And then Nick goes, that's where I live.
yeah, that was a good line. I like that line. That's where I live.
I'm like, on the dance, you live on the
Yeah.
dance floor? Is that? He should have said, this is where I live, and then start busting a move.
And he's still got a tambourine staffed around his ankles. Oh, shit.
Everyone knows. Plus, it's not even that dark in there. Really? You couldn't see anything. I could see pretty well.
I love that they shot each other.
Yeah, dude, they're in a circle and they shoot.
I'm watching this.
That's
like
my
rule
thing.
number one.
I
They're
hope
going to
they
shoot
shoot each
at
other.
the guy in the middle, but they all have their guns drawn pointing at themselves. It's just like, how dumb. You form a semicircle. You only go like 120 degrees.
That's
you know what
max.
I mean? You don't even do a
Max.
full 180. That's still a problem for the guys on the end.
That's why firing squads weren't circular. They were straight lines.
That's why.
right.
That's math, son. All right. Eventually, through this whole melee, Cobb, the big fat old guy, gets that circumcision he was told about earlier.
That's right in his cross.
Sales is all about following through on what you've promised. Okay.
Always be circumcised.
Always be.
Always be close. ABC.
Follow up and follow up and deliver on your promises.
Crotch to neck, and then add
Yep.
insult to injury. He knocks his hat off as he's falling down.
He did. It's true.
That's great.
Nick finally gets into the room where the hostages are.
the hostages.
McCready has the girl and the boy at gunpoint, but he's holding the shotgun by the top of the barrel. This is the weirdest way I've ever seen a bad guy hold a shotgun before. He's like got it like this at the kids. I'm like, dude, if you fire that thing, it's going to burn the skin off your hand, first of all.
If you come any closer, his head will be in this girl's lap or something.
Honestly.
Like that. Yeah.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Bruce Lee's brother shows up.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Is that Bruce? They got Bruce Lee's brother.
Is it Sho Kasugi? Is that how you say it?
I think so, yeah.
I think how you say it. Plays the guy, and he's there with the samurai sword and everything. And I'm like, why the song and dance? You've already got him. Like, he's here. You don't need Bruce Lee's brother anymore.
He paid for him.
Again,
Get your money
that's why
out
he's
of
broke.
this bad boy.
And they have, I will say this, I thought their fight was the best fight
Sure.
in the entire
I thought it was the
Start
only
with
fight in
fruit.
the whole thing.
Started with fruit flying.
Doesn't the cornfield?
Slices the fruit.
Yes, just like a callback to the beginning, right?
Beautiful.
And they have this really cool sword
This
fight.
continuity throughout this film is astounding.
I almost spit out my drink when he felt his face and goes, Japanese, huh?
Oh, I know. Like I was just. I mean, I get like we're in
That
a
was
different
so
era at this
funny.
point.
Almost
That
spit
was
But I mean, like, still, I feel like somebody should have been like,
that
I don't
was
need this
awesome.
line.
I mean, he doesn't know. It could be him.
He
He's
should have
a
gone
white
to the
guy.
eyeballs. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That,
okay.
I couldn't
loved it.
believe
I loved
that
it.
one. I was
That
like, oh.
so good. Look, if you can touch little boys on their face, you can touch a Japanese guy.
There's ultimately a.
Wow.
Oh, you're Irish, huh?
Yeah, but he wasn't touching the little boy's face and then like going like sexy, right? Like he wasn't like making some sort of like grand idea about their identity either.
It's like, I get to take on a real master.
Yes.
He was excited. It was like, I finally have found the equal.
They end up fighting along
That's important in those
around
ninja
this hot
movies,
tub,
isn't
okay?
Yeah, like that was in Telegraph.
From the time machine.
yeah.
Which the hot tub, was it a lamp or something fell into the hot
Yeah,
tub?
some giant lamp.
I was like,
That-
somebody better throw a Red Bull in this thing.
Electrifies the water inside of the hot. Why? First of all, the hot tub's on. Okay, that's
Right.
cool. Lamp is in the hot tub. They're fighting along the rim of it. They're standing on the top of it.
Yes.
And Bruce Lee's brother is swinging, has to swing across a very small gap. Okay, to be swinging
What are
across.
you swinging on, too?
I don't even. It was like the apparatus that the lights were hanging from
Yes.
above or whatever.
Why are those giant lights
He's
there?
swinging across, ends
Film
up
set.
getting killed.
In the water. Fried ninja. Japanese fried ninja. Tempura ninja.
It's a delicacy.
gosh.
Tempura. He got tempura.
Why are you swing? It's about 1.5 feet. And he's got to swing. Your sword reaches across.
That's so great.
Arm plus sword will reach across
It's
a
important, though. He drops
four-person
the
hot tub.
sword first. He knocks the sword
Right.
out of his hand, so it's on the floor. That's important for later.
That's important for later, for in a second here. Yeah, absolutely. Finally, after he gets fried, one of these bad guys just shoots Nick.
Yes.
Okay. From across the room. Doesn't
was
let him get
Slag.
close. Slag walks in,
Finally,
shoots Nick.
shoots him.
I'm like, oh, I mean, he's fine. And
They
ultimately,
should have ended it. It's like, all
does
right,
nothing.
we win. Got it.
he's
Cool.
like, I told you that butter knife wasn't going to stop no
Right.
bullet.
I like it.
And then he
Shoots him.
freaking throws the sword and darts him to the wall.
No, you missed the best part.
What's the best part?
The best part?
The end.
I missed the best part.
One of the best.
The credits.
The kid, he says, throw me the sword.
Not yet. That's after
not
this.
yet.
Oh, okay.
See?
I'm so excited about that part.
He throws his sword and darts the guy to the wall.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Okay. And then Slag pulls the sword out.
Yeah.
And now he's stumbling to try and get to his gun.
That's right.
Okay. And he goes, unreasonable people ruin the world or
Yeah,
something
that's
like
a good
some
line. Good line.
whatever.
You're gonna say stupid line, and I said good.
No, I was gonna say like some just throwaway thing, but this is when the kid then comes in and grabs Nick's sword. You thought this was the best part of the movie,
funny.
and he goes, "Uncle Nick, catch!"
And he misses it. My wife says, "Why did he miss it?"
The alligator hands it
because he's blind.
But he cut a fly in half.
He doesn't just miss it; it goes
The most realistic part of the whole movie. He can't catch the sword.
It goes in the electrified
of course.
hot
Then he
tub.
can't get it. So now he's really in trouble. There's tension.
But he's able to grab
This is craftsmanship in
the
movie making.
samurai sword that Bruce Lee's brother left behind. This whole time, Slag has the gun at him.
Why doesn't he shoot him?
Shoot him!
I thought when he shot him the first time, I'm like, finally Slag's got it. Like, he just shoot the guy. But no,
Shoot
he
him!
can't do it.
But no, he ends up Darth Mauling him
was
out the
awesome.
freaking window.
They were a long ways up, too.
That you have thoughts. I feel
that
like
scene was awesome. Was that
No,
the best
I don't,
CGI
because
scene in a long time? It was so far down.
That was terrible. I mean, like, there are so many other times in this movie where again, the similar, sword strike doesn't do anything to a person.
Yeah.
But this one not only
Cuts him in half.
Yeah, it cuts him in half, shoots him through the glass.
That was a real sword, not the crappy
but still
stick sword.
through the through this what I can't imagine is thin glass.
Especially when you're like 5,000 feet above on a sheer cliff.
This is Sears Tower level glass to prevent people from falling out.
You would imagine, yes. And he ends up, and he literally splits
That's why
in
it's
half
called-
on the fall down, just like Darth Maul in Phantom Menace.
You know that Lucas was a huge Japanese movie fan.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't a Japanese movie.
It was originally.
Remake
He
of-
watched this movie and he's all, that's going in my
He
movie.
felt the movie, and he goes, "Oh, Japanese."
Darth Maul's going to split in half like that. Had that ever been done before?
I don't
Probably.
know. I mean, I can't say I've
Has
seen
to.
every single movie
There's
that's
no
ever
way
happened.
the
In the
guy who
original
did the rest of
Japanese
this came
movie
up
that
with
did
that.
this?
Well, here's an important thing that I got to bring up because this is my biggest rant of the movie. Then we're thankfully at the end we can get on to awards here.
Yes.
As Nick is throwing, right on the time Nick throws the sword to, or Billy throws the sword to Nick and is missing, Frank tackles McCready and they're fighting on the ground over a shotgun. And it cuts back to them a couple times fighting over the shotgun.
Yeah.
Then Nick gets, Darth Maul's slag out the window, and it's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And they never show what happened
Happened
between
to him.
Frank
Yeah.
and McCready.
They didn't.
Who won? Who got killed?
Frank.
No,
we had no idea.
They had no idea. It goes
What
from
was
them
the-
wrestling to these two
Yes.
fighting, and then it just cuts to the bus stop.
Yeah.
They never resolve
There
it.
was no
Right, I was just
resolution to
guessing.
that.
They never. How do you
That
not
was
resolve?
weird. That was weird.
From a filmmaking standpoint, either you have the footage and you don't use it, which is a sin itself, to be like, we just don't feel like we need to show what happens to the bad guy of the entire movie,
Or they forgot to
or
film it.
they didn't shoot it, which is even worse. So there's no resolution to this that isn't a big giant dumbass red mark on the people that made this movie.
That was pretty bad.
And you guys think I'm ridiculous for hating some of the movies I hate?
This is for a big movie. This is a big giant
That
dumbass
is a big
mistake.
for sure.
I mean, come on. It's the villain of the whole picture.
It is. That was bad.
But maybe
You know what else
maybe
is
there was
bad?
a sequel in mind, and
Well, it's
let's
true.
not resolve it.
They were going to do a sequel. Maybe the other thing that frustrated me a little bit before that was Frank was shown a little bit throwing his bombs, but not really, and they weren't very effective.
No, they were like little, that's why I said sparklers in a jar.
They were dumb.
Homemade napalm, he
that was
said.
disappointing.
Ugh.
That's not even the right recipe, by the way.
Yeah. Did you know in England they cut that part out because they didn't want people to copy that?
No, that's
It doesn't work.
anything from this movie should be copied.
I'm going to try that.
They get to the bus stop. It's the last
more stuff to
ridiculous thing
burn.
before we're done.
Melt
Billy,
my rest of my glasses off.
Frank and Annie are going to take off with Billy in the bus, and Billy realizes that Nick's not coming with him, and he runs 14 blocks away off of this bus to catch up to Uncle Nick. Don't leave. And Uncle Nick's like, but I hate you. You suck. I'm
No, he
leaving.
doesn't.
You flipped me off.
Nick wants two daddies now.
He does. Nick is trying to disappear to
His
the
mom's
evil.
dead. He's been taken hostage. He's been tracked all across the country by a blind guy.
And he throws
He throws
the Triceratops
catches him.
off the bridge, and Nick is
Beautiful.
under
right
the
here. Got me
it's
right
beautiful.
here. Right here in
Give
my
me a-
heart.
Give me a break.
And he
You know
does.
how some movies, like, you're really happy that they do a callback?
Yes.
I wanted to forget the first parts of this movie. So when they start doing callbacks, I was like, you are just like doubling down on.
Remember how this sucked? Still sucks.
Yeah, it still sucks.
The other thing is he also does a disappearing bus trick.
Disappearing bus
He
trick.
like crosses the street, the bus goes by, and he's
Oh yeah, that's another classic. Yeah, the bus driver from the original bus just tracks down this child.
Well, he was standing at the next stop.
yeah, I did think that was weird.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But then the most moving part of all.
Oh, please, I'm so ready to hit this movie's over button.
He's walking under the bridge.
Yes.
And he has real tears because his
because the place in his head that makes tears is now working now.
And all of us in my family go, "Oh, isn't that sweet?"
Lies and slander.
Movie's over. All right, thank goodness. Well, all right, guys.
Loves Billy.
They did look. All right, we're going to get into it as we get into these awards. I've got a lot to say about that, but I appreciate just the thoughtfulness you put into this, Charles. I do. We're going to move on to the award section. So, all right, you guys ready to give this thing some awards?
Yes.
No.
All right, having just covered Blind Fury scene by scene, we are now going to start with the first award that we always give out, the most prestigious award, the Will Patton Award for Intensity. And this award we give out to the actor who, no matter the fact that they were in Blind Fury, they took their role on with the level of commitment and seriousness and intensity that of the namesake of Will Patton. And so this is the award we give out to that person. Here we go.
You want a war? I'll give you a war!
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night! And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
Yeah, all right, here we go. So, Patrick,
Forever's a
who
really long
rose
time.
the level of Will Patton's intensity in Blind Fury?
I guess maybe Noble Willingham would be the only one that I can really think of.
You felt like he took it real serious
That's
and
the
was
main bad dude.
Yeah, I think he was just. Yeah, I mean, he just seemed to be.
dialed in.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think that's a wrong answer.
There's not a right answer, I don't think, on this particular movie. Like,
There is, and you're about to hear it.
well, okay, good. Because the only other one I was thinking was maybe Brandon Call, just because of the fact that he was so intense with it, with everything. But
I like Brandon Call.
Two wrongs.
Okay, is that you're
make him
No,
right
that's
then.
not my pick.
Roulette wheel lady.
She was awesome.
Intense
She
as
certainly
hell.
was.
In every
Look at
scene
this.
she was.
True.
She
Yeah.
was.
Look at
she
this.
was. Mine,
Yeah, let's hear yours.
Rutger Hauer.
Rutger Hauer.
Yes. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know if you're aware of this, but
Yeah.
the man did serious training for this film.
Really?
3 months before with an actual martial artist guy.
We can't give him an
And
award
2
based on
hours
intent.
before every shoot for 10 months.
Wow.
And I actually thought he brought the intensity of the character.
And the actual
he brought
performance.
emotional.
It took them 10
depth.
months to shoot this thing?
Yeah, it took. I liked Rutger Hauer in this. I thought he did.
That's
a good
$1 million
job. I thought
a month.
His
All right.
character carried the movie. He was intense. When he needed to, he touched faces really good. He got close to people when he needed to.
This is what I was going to bring up earlier that I said we wait till the awards is I think the Rutger Hauer, and as we've said in many other episodes, I'll say it again, these awards aren't indicative of a person's whole career. This is just based on this movie.
No.
Sometimes we hand out the trash can. It doesn't mean their whole career is trash. Rutger Hauer is an exceptional actor who's been in many, from Blade Runner. Dude, the original Hitcher is incredible. ABC Hobo with a Shotgun was a recent movie that he did, which is kind of weird like this, but really, really
Sounds
good.
like something I might like. Though.
Great movie, okay?
He was in Nolan's trilogy, Batman trilogy
yes,
too, right?
He was
Yeah.
the guy that Morgan Freeman replaced.
Yes, yeah.
Didn't you get the memo? That was
Yeah,
Rutger
yeah,
Hauer,
yeah.
originally. So
That's why
he's
it was
great.
so hard for me to see him in this movie, because he was so not like anything else I've ever seen him in.
Yeah, I don't think this is one of his best performances in this movie.
I like this performance.
I think it was tonally, and maybe that's not his fault. He was told to do this, but from scene to scene, there's intensity, and the next scene he's like, "Ooh, nice doggy," and I didn't.
It's an action comedy.
Yeah, it was.
Is it?
They
'Cause
forgot
I
the
don't know if
comedy.
it knows what it is.
It is.
Maybe it was supposed
That's
to be.
what it's supposed to be.
All right.
I thought he was good in this. I
went
thought he
with-
brought the performance. I thought he brought the intensity necessary for that role.
I went with Randall Tex Cobb as Slag.
Yes.
I thought he gave.
Slag would have been my second.
I thought he gave a really good performance. I think of all the henchmen, he genuinely
He was the
seemed
henchiest, for sure.
menacing.
Yes.
You know,
Well, he's
like,
just a huge dude.
the brothers were kind of
Everything.
jokes,
Yeah.
and they were great. I like the brothers, but man, I thought Cobb really was into his performance. So that's a 4-way tie right now. Let's go. We got 2 patrons that played along with us today. And starting us off here is Josh Whitehouse. And he went with Randall Tex Cobb being the only fun thing about the movie. And then we also have Aaron Noack. Aaron Noack coming back it's been a hot minute since he's with us, so I'm happy to see Aaron back again doing awards. And he went with Sho Kosugi, the assassin. With just in about 2.5 minutes of screen time, Sho put in a freaking goddamn amazing sword fight. I wish it would have been him who was originally sent to destroy poor little Billy's life. Nothing against Tex, but having 2 swordsmen fighting it out in the corn would have been nearly as epic.
The farmers would have been so happy if this happened at harvest time.
Yeah, right. Keep fighting.
No, fight to the left.
My wife's such a soft spirit. She says, "Oh, I feel bad for the farmer and his corn." I'm like, "There's a lot of corn. They're not taking out that much corn." I don't know how the
combine's going to do with the guns.
There's a corn subsidy too. I mean,
he does reference last Stand. He goes, a sword fight in the corn would have been nearly as epic as the corn car chase in Last Stand.
Yeah.
Hell, if Arnold had a sword fighting Sho Kosugi on a bridge, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sho Kosugi was electrifying for a short time we had him. I think that's a great vote, but Tex Cobb with 2 votes is ultimately going to win the Will Patton Award for intensity.
That makes sense.
And good for Tex. Always love Tex Cobb in these. The next award we give out is the award you don't want to win. It's for this baby right here, the trash can filled with dirt. And we give it to the actor who gave a performance that showed they had the acting range of a trash can filled with dirt. So let's go. Who's going to win it?
Trash can, oh trash can, it's a trash can full of dirt. Yeah.
Love never dies, and neither do they. Love is eternal. And that's a long time.
That's right. We named this award after Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
The Steven Seagal trash can filled with dirt. All right. So, Patrick.
Did you, just before we're gone.
Yeah, please.
Did you let the folks know that the beautiful singing voices in the head, one of those is your daughter Genevieve?
Yeah, so she actually sang along with it during our Fog episode.
Oh, did she? Oh, I didn't get to that
She did.
part.
Yeah,
I
no,
listened
it's all good.
3/4 of that episode.
It was funny when she did it. She didn't know, I think, it was going to come on so fast. So at the very beginning, she's trying to catch up to it a little bit. But no, it was cool to have her do that.
You can cut that out.
No. It's all good. Patrick, who is your nomination for the trash can filled with dirt?
Someone can't go to the casting director.
I can't. No. But that's a good honorable mention, though. Yeah.
I mean, Meg Foster.
Meg Foster. Wow. Shots fired.
Again, I don't think she was given good material anyway. So I'm not necessarily, blaming her per se. I think they gave her such a short amount of screen time. They gave her very little to develop a character of any sort whatsoever. And you could just tell, I would phone it in. If this was the crap I was given, I'd be like,
okay,
whatever.
I get that, but she did nothing with it. I know you're trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I mean, she literally came in like,
yeah, no,
that's bad. I didn't
that's
vote
what I'm
for
saying.
her,
That's why I'm saying, I think, I'm saying, she did nothing with it. And part of me is just I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I think at the end of the day, anybody could have been in that role.
No, I went with Brandon Call. I straight up went with Billy.
Yeah.
I thought
Brandon
Billy was
awesome.
terrible. I thought he was terrible.
Brandon was good. He had emotions. He yelled. He cried. he threw stuff at people. He flipped people off.
I thought
I legitimately was going to say.
He was a good child actor.
I like you guys. You guys are awesome, but I sure missed the hell out of Bob sitting here with me. I was going to channel Bob, and I was going to say, this kid sucks.
Yes.
No, he didn't.
Bob would have destroyed this kid.
Oh, my God, would he have gone off on this kid? This was the perfect episode for Bob to say, this guy sucks, that chick's cute. End of let's go.
That is a good point. But
all right. I assume you're not going with Billy.
No, I like Billy. He actually had character arc.
All right.
He went from a jerk, bratty kid to a
jerk, bratty kid.
Sensitive about his parents.
He ended as a jerk, bratty kid.
He still ran away in the middle of a major metropolitan area and then threw a dinosaur again.
I've been around some
throwing a
kids
tantrum.
that got some emotional issues, so he's struggling.
All right, so who you got?
I'm going to go with his.
Oh, Meg Foster.
Yeah, he's right. I was going to pick Annie, but I think she's right.
Annie wasn't great either,
she was worse.
She was worse than Annie, but Annie was not great.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a 2-2 tie coming into the patrons here. And so Josh went with the entire cast of an absolute dumpster fire.
It's a 3-3 tie.
From every member of the main cast, except for my Will Patton Award winner, who is Randall Cobb. So, yeah, 3-3 tie now at this point.
Casting director.
I know. Here we go. This is Aaron Nowak. He said, I would like to preface my choice by saying, if I could choose Tally Paulos, the ADR editor, I would have. Apparently, he hated the ADR work in this movie.
What's ADR?
That's when they re-record dialogue of somebody after the fact. But I'm going to go the Bob route today and rip on the kid.
Kid was a good actor.
Brandon Call as Billy was not the right call for this movie. Yeah, nicely done, Aaron Rackham. You could say that he should have stepped aside. Bad step-by-step joke there, sorry. Now,
that a pun?
That was a pun. Yeah, give another one.
Right.
Now, was it his acting or the poor writing? I'm having a hard time seeing the difference. His weird mood swings throughout the movie and thinking that flipping the bird at everyone was just kind of dumb. Maybe if I was 8 when I saw this, I might have thought he was freaking cool, but he wasn't. So what I'm trying to say here is that when you pretty much make the first hour of the movie an escort mission with a crappy NPC that has bad ADR, it doesn't create an enjoyable watching experience. That's such a great way of putting it. A crappy escort mission with a bad
it did remind
NPC.
me of, as we were talking about this, the last movie I was on.
Which one?
Red Sonja.
Red Sonja. With Prince Tarn.
Taran.
Yeah.
Taran being kind of a jerky, bratty
right.
kid, too. And you got a really lovable dude in his man-child handler.
Falcon,
not handler.
I think his name was, yeah.
Falcon, helping him out.
So with 3 votes, it's going to be Brandon Call is going to win. It's perfect. That's
how democracy works.
Fine. Democracy doesn't work.
It just did.
Just make me your leader, and I'll pick all the right options.
Whoa, that's scary. What a scary thought. All right, our next award is the Steve James Unsung Hero Award. This is for someone who was not a lead character that, even in a small part, really made the movie better, and it was a better movie because they were in it. Or maybe even somebody you say, hey, they should have been a main character. That's how good they were.
Yes.
Who was, Charles, we'll go this way this time and start with you. Who was your unsung hero of this movie?
Pike Brothers.
Yeah, so Lyle and Tector.
Lyle and Tector were great.
They were fantastic.
They brought awesome energy and humor, and I didn't like how they died. I thought that was far too violent, graphic,
brutal
for their characters.
Brutal.
But it was. They were awesome.
Yeah,
I have great lines too. Like,
please hit me with them.
The line when after they shoot up the gondola, all the heck, and he's Lyle says, "God damn, there's more holes in that thing than my daddy's rubber." And Tector, you hear in the background, says, "I didn't know Daddy wore rubber."
Sorry. Why are we talking about this? I remember thinking at the
great
time,
line.
right?
I love that.
Okay.
That was so funny.
I went with Noble Willingham. Oh, did you have something to add? Sorry.
No.
I went with Noble Willingham. Every time that guy, he's got that Southern, like in Mace Ventura, he's like, I know the guy hasn't washed his jockey strap in 4 weeks because he thinks flies are lucky, right? Like, I just love the way the guy talks. And every time he's the bad guy in a movie, I'm like, let's go. Noble Willingham.
He made a good bang.
So I think he's a unsung hero of this movie. Yeah. Clint, who you got?
I think this time Charles does have the right answer.
Oh, there you go.
Rare.
I'm gonna go with that, but with an honorable mention to the alligator on the side of the road as being the only funny real joke in the whole thing.
Perfect.
And the Ford van, because
That thing was awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Thing was
I'd drive that.
Yeah.
A couple great vans we've had on some shows.
Yeah.
recently.
We had a lot of good old cars, man, and they were just cars at the time too. Like these are current driving vehicles.
Now they're
so
cool
now we look at
cars.
it as like, oh my god, that's so sweet. Back then it was just look at that crappy Ford van. There's a million of them.
Yeah.
Patrick, who you got for me, brother?
I got the Pike Brothers.
Yeah.
So three out of 4 went with the Pike brothers.
They had another great line though, but it's all like
Do it.
cuss words.
Well, I believe
Oh, that was so
it's the
funny.
one where the one brother goes shit, the other brother goes fuck, and then they go shit fuck.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that was the best line in the movie, in my opinion, because it was just like, that's
I
perfect.
forgot about
great.
that.
And what was hilarious to me, I watched on Tubi, right? You know how Tubi goes to commercial and then it cuts right back?
Yeah.
They just gave that line and it comes back and it starts right there with that line again and
man.
goes on. It was
That's
awesome.
hilarious.
That was a great line.
I actually
let's-
paid to rent this one because I didn't want to break it with commercials.
Yeah.
So Josh did not give an unsung hero award, and it's funny. We just talked about this with I think Matt last week, so I'll reiterate this again. And this, I'll communicate this to the patrons, and don't take this the wrong way. But you guys have to give winners. So I know you didn't give a trash can. You said everybody in the entire cast, and here you said no one deserves the Unsung Hero Award. Part of the fun of this is you got to plant your flag somewhere and make a decision, right or wrong.
That's right.
Pick somebody and go with it. So, but Josh, we appreciate you playing along today too. Aaron did pick somebody. Aaron Noack went with, I'm giving it to the Pike brothers.
All right.
Nick Cassavetes as Lyle and Rick Overton as Tector. This is once again a pairing in a movie that they could have done another whole movie about.
They were great.
Yes,
A lot of Johnny
absolutely.
Knoxville vibes in
Yeah.
there, too, especially Lyle.
So these guys have the one-liners. They provided the comic relief. They made me forget how shit-fuck bad Brandon Call was in this movie. On top of being probably the best part of the movie, both gentlemen have gone on to do some pretty extensive work in Hollywood. Yeah, I think Nick Cassavetes is a director we've talked about in the past. And so, yeah, that means these guys are going to win.
All right.
The
job, Lyle.
a dual win for two people for the Steve James Unsung Hero Award. Next award we give out, it used to be our top 3 favorite actors. Now it's just our 3 favorite things. It could be actors, could be a line of dialogue, could be things that happen in the movie, whatever it is. What I want to make you guys, again, plant your flags with 3 positive things about this movie. We got to find the silver lining here. What were your 3 favorite things about the movie?
I like Brandon Call.
Okay.
I enjoyed the kid actor. I thought he did a good job in this movie. He was entertaining enough to me.
Perfect.
I like the part. I like the chemistry between him and Rutger in their roles.
Okay.
All right. The lady who held up the roulette wheel, she was awesome, amazing. She was great.
Perfect.
And probably the last one for me is Slag.
Slag,
I really like
okay.
Slag. Partly
All right.
because of my connection with him in Uncommon Valor.
Yes.
When I was a kid and got taken to that movie.
Way too young.
Yeah, way too young.
Yeah.
But he's good. He's menacing. He's
For sure.
big. He's charismatic.
He's awesome.
He's good. Yeah.
So my 3 favorite things in the movie, I thought the henchman variety was great. Just an awesome variety of henchman dudes, like from the upstairs guys to the downstairs guys. They had like Samoans. They had the like Fat Albert upstairs. They had the Pike brothers, Randall Cobb. I just thought it was really, really cool. The kid falling in the mud is my second favorite thing about this
Was
movie.
his name actually Randall Cobb?
Yeah, his name was Randall Tex Cobb.
Like the football player.
Like the football player, exactly, yeah. And Meg Foster getting blasted was my third favorite thing about this movie. I was like, that part was awesome. So, how about for you, Clint? What were your 3 favorite things?
I like the part where the kid got thrown across the room and knocked out. I like the part where the kid fell down and hurt his knee. And I really like the part where the kid got a rock spit in his face and hurt himself again. That was good stuff.
I did like all those parts
those
too.
Were good.
Those were good parts.
All right, your 3 favorite things about this movie. You got to come up with 3.
I'm trying, man.
We took all of them.
Yeah, I know. You
It
guys
can be a
did really
repeat.
like
It can be
that.
repeat.
I mean, whew, boy. I would say that the fact that it is less than an hour and a half
That is always a good thing.
is a good thing.
legit.
Man, I am struggling here. Okay, Meg Foster got shot. That's a good one too. And a 3-way tie between Call's encounters with
All right, perfect. I love
near
it.
misses.
I love it. Josh said his top 3. First, he said the people from the village being the only believable people
They were good.
in the entire
That's
movie.
legit,
That's
yeah.
absolutely true.
That was fun.
Slag for being a fun villain, and the old lady who shot out the window after getting hijacked.
Yeah,
is his
she
number.
was
I love
awesome.
that pick, Josh. That's awesome, brother. Aaron said, look, notable recognition, Pegasus, the TriStar mascot. You know the TriStar Pictures thing at the beginning?
Oh yeah, it is always fun to see those old
The
mascots.
old ones
come-
are
yeah,
great. That's
they
what he
are.
says. He goes, just hearing that TriStar logo and seeing that damn horse run at the screen just filled me with joy.
Yeah, you forget all those movies that were made by those companies that aren't around anymore,
Right?
and all those beginning.
That's something nostalgic about that. He said, number 3, I got to give some love to the big man, Tex Cobb. I really wish they did more with him as Slag. It kind of felt like they didn't know what to do with him. He's a big dude. Have him land some punches, afflict some pain, not just have him shoot and say stupid things like, I got a gun, me shoot, pew, pew. The writers did him dirty and just kind of threw his character out the window, literally. It makes me think if they were split on what direction maybe he should have landed. I think those are all great
Split
observations.
on what
Yeah, I
direction
was
he
gonna
should have
say,
landed.
yeah,
He got 2 of
rack
them in
a
there.
boy up. I
He
love
got
this.
2 of them.
Nice.
Rutger Hauer was number 2 for him. He said, this man is the master of the endless stare. Though at times his line delivery seemed almost evil or condescending for being the good guy. I didn't hate him, and he did make the movie palatable. I'll agree with that. I didn't give him my trash yet. I don't think he did terrible. I just don't think this was his best performance personally. Number 1, he went with the Pike brothers. Why were these guys not in the movie from the beginning? Why were they the only ones with quality, notable quotes? Why didn't we get a movie about these two and how they got suckered into going after a kid for McCready? I wanted more of them, and I paid more attention when they were on the screen. So cheers to the Pike brothers. So, hey, man, I love how much love in general the Pike brothers are getting.
I'm starting to think, too, though, like this is a little bit of a thing that happens. I mean, didn't Scott Caan's character in Ocean's 11 have a brother, and they were kind of bumbling, and they would fight each other all the time?
All the time.
Always like. I think this is a thing. Like if this is a brothers that love each other but hate each other, bumbling through, as trying to do some sort of nefarious thing. It's just if you do it right, I guess.
With the right actors.
Well, and even in this, I mean even this movie, somehow they still pulled it out where they were able to do this part right.
It was awesome, dude. And the only thing that could have made this movie more awesome is if Arnold Schwarzenegger had been in the film. Okay, if they imagine Blind Fury.
That's not the only thing that could have done it. There's 1,000
the main
things, but that absolutely would have done it.
So imagine Blind Fury. I know, and I think at this point, the reason we started this whole thing is that everybody wanted Arnold, but they could have got him Blind Fury with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Nick.
So
would have been incredible.
I feel like it's so easy to figure out ways Arnold's could have made this good. Let's think about the most obscure way he could have made it good. It could have been the reason why he went blind. Like literally Arnold's like glistening sculpted body sitting there and like he could never see again. There's so many ways.
Or if Arnold had just destroyed the film. And we didn't have to watch it ever.
Listen, I bought the movie.
I bought it just to kill it,
and now I'm going to destroy it. I mean, even if he had been,
I don't think that would have worked. I think one of the reasons Hauer works, if you think he works, which I do.
How dare you?
The problem with Arnold in that role is he's too big and intimidating.
That's what.
He's
but
blind.
if you take away his sight,
kind of diminutive, and you don't expect him to hurt anybody. But a giant Arnold,
this douchebag is going to walk into the diner and see a blind Arnold Schwarzenegger and then sneak up and put some hot sauce on his stuff? I don't think that happens.
They realize. I think he walks in. They're intimidated. But then say, wait, he's blind. Now we can mess with him. Do you know what I mean? People always want to take the biggest dog down.
I think he could have been Frank.
He would have been great as Nick.
He'd be good as Frank.
Think of the catchphrase.
It'd be like 10 henchmen holding him over the edge of the building. As he's
cutting. I have to cut out all of those. Keep saying it. As he's cutting Slag in half. And he's falling out the window. I'll see you later. Get it? Because he's blind.
Begrudgingly.
Well, then make him the big guy. Tex Cobb's part.
No,
I told you. Listen, I told you that the little butter knife is not going to stop a bullet.
Cobb, but I like the guy that played. I like Slag's. I like the actor.
You know what? No.
He's not Arnold.
No.
He should have just been sitting in the cornfield in a Corvette.
What about the fat guy?
He was the
Scarecrow.
He should have just been out in the cornfield in a silent freaking Camaro.
Oh,
what about the fat guy sitting at the desk and his eyebrows get cut off?
I think sometimes you're overthinking what is an obvious, like a blind sword-wielding Arnold movie.
No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's
Incredible.
So easy. I'm trying to still find a ridiculous way.
What about his Brandon Call, the kid?
Oh my God, feeling his face.
Austrian, huh?
Or him as McCready would have been. I think he could have been.
He could have been McCready
as a bad guy in here.
Sure.
Could you imagine if Arnold was hanging you off the building?
Trying to do a southern accent?
No, but still make it be like he's like the Austrian connection.
Austrian.
He could be the ex-wife.
Yeah, there you go.
Listen, go outside for your allergies. Get out of here now. I'll see you later. I'm still going with that. All right. So here's what they had to say. Josh said, my God, would this movie have been so much better with Arnold? 1,000 times better, Josh says.
But 1,000 times 0 is still 0.
And Aaron says, yes, in all caps, Arnold should have been Uncle Nick. Thank you, Aaron. Give him a huge-ass sword and stogie while still going around decapitating all those that stood in his way.
And punching animals.
At the beginning, when he's done beating up the thugs in the bar, he could have had a one-liner like, sorry, I didn't see you there.
He could have kicked the gator. He could have kicked the gator on the side of the road and said, get along, little doggy.
and just walked over them bugs. He could have had an actual brawl with Tex Cobb at the end that would have had higher stakes than a shootout, like a punching fight. It would have been amazing. This could have been one of Arnold's greatest films ever, but I guess he was expanding his acting chops with Twins around this time.
Well, here's the thing,
getting ready for Total Recall.
We've seen Arnold wield swords in multiple movies.
Yeah, but never blind, though.
I know, but he's not better blind.
Better than Rutger Hauer blind.
Rutger Hauer was great. He's brought emotionality and sensitivity to it.
He did?
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
He did.
That's right.
I thought he was drywall for the most part.
He was good. I liked him. Do you know there's a weird connection with Remo Williams in this movie?
Oh, please tell me.
The stunt coordinator
Oh, same guy?
won an award for Remo Williams.
Oh.
Yeah.
So why didn't we have him tiptoeing across the sand in this one?
I don't know. That would have been good.
Would have been awesome. All right, ultimately, guys, we got to land on something here. We have to come to a final determination. We have our choices that lay before us. We have seen the critics' ratings. We've seen the very high IMDb ratings of 6.3. Yes. The critics have been split. 56% say it's good, where the audience is at 51%, even more split. Where are we going to land? Is it, in fact, a bad movie, full stop? Is it a bad movie that rules, or is it a good movie? Patrick, we're going to start with you down there. Please explain your rating and why you feel that way.
Sure. So I came in here not knowing. Like, honestly, like I was just like, man, I didn't have any reaction to this movie, right? Like, it wasn't, I didn't hate it and I didn't love it, which I think is more insulting, like, because of the fact that, like, you didn't like, there were times we were just talking, I watched this yesterday.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, that happened? Like, wait a minute, did I blink and miss this? Like, so I think originally I was kind of like, oh, this is, we'll call it a bad movie that rules. But our conversation today has ramped up my emotions a little bit, and it's a bad movie.
Oh, full stop.
Yeah, I mean, for a sober person, it's a bad movie. I mean, I think maybe back in my days of partaking in other substances on this planet, then maybe I would have been like, this is hilarious, and I would have been just laughing my ass off. But as a sober person, as a person that's just like, oh yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I think that's fair. Valid. Clint?
I would have to resurrect the Rolodex here because
I'm glad I miss it.
There are some
16-point scale.
There are some terrible bad movies, right? We have seen some ridiculously bad movie. If this is movie 7, this is a flat out bad movie. Nothing else to say about it. This is movie 130 whatever.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, this movie is blah. I watched it. It was on the whole time. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Hell, I didn't even like it, and I didn't disdain. It was like, literally, I'm trying to figure out the whole time who is watching this. Like, this isn't the movie you watch. This is the movie that you don't turn off when the person who's watching it leaves the room. Like, that is the point that I was at
and
with
you're
this thing. Is I
scrolling on
didn't
your phone
hate
and Reddit,
which means this is a bad movie. But it's not a bad movie you turn off.
Yeah.
It's definitely not one you turn on for any reason at all.
I got you.
But yeah, except for unless you have a buddy's like, hey man, you want to do a podcast?
Yeah,
then you turn it on.
Because your friend makes you do it. Yeah, right. No, I understand. Yeah, Charles, where are you at on this one, buddy?
I surprisingly enjoyed this movie.
I could tell.
I would say I actually came in here with a good movie.
Oh, wow.
I agree with Ebert.
With Ebert, okay.
As we've talked, I've decided to move it down a notch.
Oh, okay.
Into bad movie that rules.
But you still enjoyed it.
You did point out some parts that probably from a movie making perspective are not great. Like the fact,
indisputable facts.
Like the fact that they never told us what happened to the bad guy. That was bad, right?
Really
I
bad.
remember thinking that, and there's some other stuff. But I think I enjoyed the movie. I would watch this again. I had fun watching it with my wife and daughter.
Okay.
We laughed several times. We liked the jokes. The Pike brothers were hilarious.
I love it.
I actually thought that there's a pretty good connection, as I already said, between the kid and Rutger Hauer.
Yeah. All right. So was that officially just a bad straight up?
All right.
So I got 2 bads,
but
1
not
bad
the
that
hardest
rules.
Bad straight up.
I don't know where to rate this movie. I think it exists in some weird alternate middle dimension.
Yes.
That is unquantifiable almost to it. I will give it a rating. I will plant my flag, but I just want to explain why I'm feeling conflicted about this, because there's nothing, like, it's not a good movie. It's not a good enough movie to say this is good. Okay. I didn't enjoy it enough to say that it rules. Okay.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is in a third spot.
But it's fine.
So interesting, you guys' response.
Do you know what I mean?
Meh.
It's like the best Western.
It's
of
lukewarm.
movies.
I keep thinking of Jesus talking about the church when he's lukewarm, right? I'd rather you be hot or cold, not lukewarm, and spit you out of my mouth.
It's like the best Western of movies. It's fine. Do you know what I mean? I don't.
This episode brought to you by Best
It's we're
Western.
not sponsored by Best.
Well, we'll never get that
wouldn't
sponsor.
They don't want us to be
awesome.
sponsored. When I just said it's fine,
It's fine.
But like that's where I'm at on this
I think
one.
it's a little more like comfort suites.
It's a comfort suite.
I would agree.
Best Westerns can be nice.
That's a little bit on the
can they?
upper end,
Okay.
maybe of the
All right,
middle
fine.
of the lower end hotels.
It's a comfort. It's fine. What's that? Whatever hotel when you think on, fine.
like all those
that's-
hotels
we'll
we
leave
stayed
the
at going
lights on
across
for
the
you.
country.
That's what this
It's
is.
fine.
The Antioch
So
Hotel.
I think for our scale, I have to go bad movie just because that's what our scale allows me to do.
Exactly.
But I think that's any form of art. I don't care, and I don't like using that word for this movie. But like
I would agree
any
with that.
form
That's a hard word to use.
of artistic, expression, right? Like if it leaves your audience with no reaction, I think that's the worst.
That's what you're saying. Be
thing.
hot or cold, right? Like
Yeah.
make me feel something.
Yeah.
I would rather be able to tell people that I know the guys and was able to help with the guys who did The Next Level and Clubless.
Okay.
And then to say, like, yeah, I was part of that movie.
Blind Fury.
I drove one of the extras in the crash sequence or something.
right.
Like, no, I would, no.
When they go,
had
guys,
more
by,
fun.
look at me. Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys had that response. I thought it was pretty fun.
So here's what Josh had to say. Josh went, overall, a bad movie that sucks on every single level. Josh
Jeez.
did not
All
mince
right.
words
Didn't like this movie.
about this at all.
All right, Josh.
Not a fan. So that's 4 bads, 1 rules. But Aaron, I think, is going to team
All
up with
right,
you
I
here,
got a buddy.
He said, this movie could have been spectacular,
I'd agree with that.
but poor writing from the frickin' Jim Cotta guy kept us from having a truly fun and enjoyable time with this movie. Along with some crappy ADR that seemed to not sync up whenever Billy talked.
That guy is that the ADR guy before?
Yes, the guy was mad about the ADR. He said, I went back and it didn't seem to be my stream lagging, but actually part of the original film. He said, this movie suffered and it didn't seem to be from the majority of the adult actors. This movie suffered and it didn't seem to be from the majority of the adult actors. When there was action, it was great, but too far and in between. I wanted more fights and severed limbs. This is an R-rated film that felt like a soft PG-13. I have seen recent Disney films with more gore, blood, and cursing than this. Was this R because the little shit kept flipping people off? But in all honesty, I enjoyed watching this movie. I did like the fight scenes we got, and the ending was corny, but at least it gave some closure to the story. It didn't feel rushed, so it's not good. It probably doesn't belong in the trash can or by the curb. It's a bad movie that rules.
All
is
right.
what Aaron says ultimately. So you do have a team
All
up
right.
there. So you're not by yourself on an island.
Not by myself.
You and Aaron can
job,
paddle
Aaron.
back on two
We
buoys.
can help out. Like the end of Jaws,
That's right, just
swimming
like
back
that.
on the pieces
Get
of
back.
boat.
Well, we can now officially leave Blind Fury in the past, gentlemen, which means we are moving on to the next film. And so what's coming next week is a movie that I've never seen. I did see the old TV show a bunch, but I avoided the remake specifically because I loved the TV show so much back in the day. But we're talking about A-Team.
Oh,
next week.
A-Team's a fun movie.
The 2010, I think, is when
yeah,
they
that's a
remade
good
that
one.
one.
It's got some good acting.
Liam Neeson, Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper, I think, is in it.
yeah, the South African guy
Yes.
plays
Yes.
Murdoch.
Can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, that guy.
But by all accounts, I've heard good things, but the ratings are in the toilet. So
Patrick Wilson's
you know,
a bad guy.
This is why it's going to make it on our show.
I'm surprised.
That's going to be a great episode.
Yeah.
Who's on that one?
I don't remember.
All right.
I think Joe is on
Not it.
I think Joe is on it, and beyond that, I have to go back and look and see. But it should be a good time talking about the A-Team. Do you guys fans of the original show?
Yep.
I tried to
Absolutely.
watch
Absolutely.
it again.
Back in
I
the
loved it
80s?
as a kid.
Yeah, right?
I tried to watch it again as an adult. It's a piece of crap.
I was a bigger fan of every other episode because it seemed like every other episode there was a build montage of
It
something.
does
Got it.
not hold up at all.
You like the building montage.
Oh, that was. I mean, the whole show.
They
was
never
cool, but
shoot
that
a
was
single person. Not one person ever gets shot.
No, there's like no stakes in that.
No,
movie.
never ever. Did you ever see the remake after the show came out?
The remake.
2010?
I enjoyed the remake. That's worth watching.
Have you
Yeah,
seen
it's,
it?
yeah, it's good.
It's
I'd
good?
say that's
Oh well,
good.
it's entertaining.
All right.
You can decide whether or not it's good for yourself.
We'll talk about that. We'll parse that out next week on BMR. So join us next week for the A-Team. And on behalf of Patrick Riley and Clint Bush, Mr. Charles Hewitt,
Yeah.
I'm James Hauser. Thank you guys for
Thank
listening.
you.
We'll catch you next week. It's time to watch a movie with people that can see. How many freaking blind people movies we did? Daredevil.
Yeah.
Blind Fury. Elektra had a blind guy that could fight with a sword in it. And we just did that.
I like that this movie
Prince of Thieves.
knew it was ridiculous. And about a blind guy.
Men in Tights.
Touching faces.
Being creepy.
He's blind. That's the only way you can see. You're so insensitive.
That was looking too sensitive.
There was the great line.
What about a sword-wielding Helen Keller movie?
Oh.
Now there's even less senses to rely on.
Yeah.